Yo, what is going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to episode 31 of the Lootcast right here on youtube.com/thegamelers. Guys, today has been such a news-filled day. It's crazy. The past few weeks have been kind of a lull after the Christmas rush, after the end of 2019 rush, but 2020 is among us, and now we have a ton of news to start off with. Today, we start off with a bunch of bangers super early in the morning. If you are awake, you know exactly what I mean, and maybe you saw it later, but Pokemon has really just filled the air and just filled up all of the news feeds in your Twitter and everywhere else, all over social media. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk to you about that all today. Batman is in the news, guys. Yes, the Knight himself, the Dark Knight, is in the news, and there may be a game coming that you didn't even know was about to hit the shelves, and maybe your PlayStation, your Xbox, coming very soon. And Final Fantasy VII, it's here too. We're going to tell you a little bit about that. And joining me today, I have a full cast. As you guys see, I have a whole star-studded cast of studs, a bunch of studs. Got a lot of studs over here. Last studs? You like that? Yeah.
So
Gotta hug.
like a wall.
Feels like it's the only time I'm going to hear that.
No duds in this.
No
block of
duds.
studs.
No duds. So, to talk to me about with everything today, guys, I have everyone here joining me. So thank you guys so much for coming by. So we're going to go ahead and I will introduce all of the awesome people joining us today. But again, if it's your first time here, guys, whether you're an audio listener on podcast services around the globe, it's really just Spotify. It's really just Apple iTunes, but those are the only two that matter. If you guys are listening on either of those, you guys can't see the video, so make sure you guys head over to youtube.com/thegamelers. Make sure you guys subscribe over there so you guys can see the video feed whenever you want, because we have a bunch of beautiful faces here, and we want you guys to get exposed to them. That's all I'm saying. And if you're watching this on Twitch or Mixer, make sure you guys follow, and on YouTube, of course, subscribe, like, chat with us during the streams. We definitely appreciate it. Speaking about being live, the one that's live all the time, constantly. You can't get him off the internet, Mr. Mr. Bacon himself. What's going on, brother? Didn't know where I was going with that one, huh?
I was like, I know he's not talking about me. Josh, maybe? B-Sips?
Yeah. I was thinking me.
He's more than I am.
I streamed 12 times in 7 days.
Dude,
my watch hours went up by 700. So, it's working.
I went the other way with that one.
You did.
Yeah,
Caught me off guard, you son of a gun.
You doing good. You doing good with that.
Don't ever do that to me. I attack when I feel threatened, sir. What's up, though?
How's it going, man? Thanks for coming by another week.
Man,
Hey, what have I been playing? I had a
Yes.
week full of pickups, so I was just gonna share them real quick for you guys.
Absolutely.
I got 5 Switch games and a PS4 game. And the PS4 game I'm not going to show. I'm not proud of it. I bought it for the culture.
Ooh,
It's a
Okay.
dying culture, and frankly, I'm not proud of it. But I bought Mass Effect Andromeda for $5.
At least it's $5.
Just because I never actually gave it a fair shake.
It's a
And
good game.
Nintendo said it was all right for what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
But let's see. I picked up Dead Cells
Okay.
and SNK Heroines Cross Tag.
Underrated gem.
I got Owlboy. I picked this up today.
Yo, hold up.
Nice.
Jake, I just picked that up too. Hey.
Oh, you guys.
Oh,
are
look at
Walmart
that.
treat.
Just picked it up the other day. I just got it.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Owlboy,
find
man.
myself I Switch. I only play 3 genres. I play RPGs, platformers, and fighters for whatever reason. And I got Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle.
Ooh, I like that game. That's a good
I
one.
never got to try it, but I heard a lot of good things.
Oh, dude, it's really good.
It's
really good. And then this is the dud. This is the GameStop
Oof.
case. Those sons of bitches.
No, you have to stand there and fight for your right for the real case. Literally.
But I don't know if you guys can read this. It's Dragon's Dogma.
Oh,
Darker
I got
Risen.
it.
Oh.
I love
That's a
Dragon's
great
Dogma.
game.
The
Yeah.
Switch port's amazing.
I need to finish that. It's real good.
It's
But,
so long.
Yes, I'm very excited to never play these, as my Switch collection is swelling like a Foster Farms chicken.
Hey, send some here. I'll accept some games.
Dude, I have so many unopened games. I don't even know. I'm turning into Josh, and I hate myself.
Whoa, whoa. I
Only
opened
Josh
some
hates
games.
himself.
Hey, you're not there yet. When all those turn into steel books, you've made it.
Yeah.
The second I have 3 unopened steelbooks, I'm going to kill myself.
Not there until
Bury
you
them
have
all with
dupes-
me because they're
dupes of every
mine
game
and
you
I
own.
need them.
Oof.
That's when you
That's
turn
about
into
it.
the real collector.
This is true. This is true.
Burn them down with my house.
What's worse about that statement is I did a Persona scramble video today, and literally the first thing I thought of was like, I'm gonna play it on PlayStation, but I'm buying it on the Switch. Then yeah.
You could buy it for both.
So-
I literally almost thought you said I did a purge today, and I was gonna be like, I was gonna lose my mind, but no,
Yeah.
we went the other way with that.
Yeah. So I'm sticking to it. I'm gonna own it on both. I want options. I know where I want to play it, but you know,
Cynthia
want- I
is
want
a
option.
lucky girl.
If you've got
Thank
the
you.
means, do it.
thank you.
She's
Thank you.
married to fucking the
A
Monopoly
man
man.
of options.
Yeah,
My-
right.
The way my bank account's set up, there's 10% that goes into my fund. So it just kind of goes. I don't even see it. It just happens, you know.
And the fun gets funneled into the Cynthia fund.
Well, yeah. She nabs it sometimes, and it
Hey,
becomes
man, he's got
a
to play
sad
it on one
fund.
system while she's playing it on the other. Anyway, it's
You gotta do
utilitarian.
what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
All facts.
Teamwork. It's all teamwork.
All
It's
facts.
gonna work.
So we will move down. If you guys are watching, just listening on audio, not watching, we're gonna move to the left. We're gonna go with Mr. Josh, Mr. Your Player 2 himself. Thank you for gracing us with your presence another week, my friend. How you doing? What you been playing?
I'm doing excellent. So right now, what I'm playing is Link's Awakening because I didn't finish it. So right now I'm on the 6th dungeon. I'm trying to go ahead and knock that out. I'm using 2020 as a year to beat back a lot of backlog change. I'm reducing the number of games I'm getting, I think. And I'm going to try to focus on knocking out some of those games that are bringing me a great deal of shame. I want to finish Link's Awakening. After that, I'm going to move on to Resident Evil 2. And from there, there's more than a few titles that, I may not have opened that I should probably crack into before I can, my time. Although I will say, I did pick up a lot of stuff, but it was in December. And
Okay.
that was because I was really milking that GameStop discount for all it's worth. And I also, speaking of Steelbooks, I did something slightly shady and unethical this week at GameStop. And that's this. Like, so you remember that Catherine full body edition that came out? You got it.
Absolutely. Yep. Love it.
So you know how the collector's edition didn't come with the that slipcase for the steelbook? Like you got the one with the sheet and everything, it didn't have the plastic part.
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody traded in Catherine with the slip cover, so I had to take that away from
Oh
GameStop
my God.
for my collect. Well, I feel like I got robbed, Plus they traded it in, so
That means
That's when you go.
you need to take another
Did
one.
you-
Yeah,
Did
they'll
you
find
give
out.
them a cool 20% of what you guys were gonna sell it for?
No,
Or
no,
did you
no.
like?
No,
did
like
you
it was
say,
already
"Hey,
traded in, and I went to
Oh.
my boss, and I was like, Ed, you got to give me the slip cover. And he was like, I'm not giving you this. And he got real defensive about it first. And then he was like, oh, wait, it's a pre-owned game? He's like, yeah, just go ahead and take it. And I was like, all right. I was like, I wouldn't take it from a new one. That's unrealistic. But,
That's crossing the line.
that would be crossing the line.
Honestly,
So-
we did get robbed. You would have to have bought in the edition below the one we bought to get that, and bought the
Right.
one we got to get all the other goodies. It makes no sense.
Right.
It makes no
doesn't,
sense.
so-
What does it cost? 10 cents?
Yeah, probably.
Something like
I
that.
don't know. But yeah, so and besides that, I've just been playing Sea of Thieves with you, like when we put you in the brig the other night and set you on fire, which didn't go quite the way that I wanted it to. I still need to clip that out and put it on Twitter, but that was a good time.
Oh,
Nobody.
I was also surprised.
Yeah, it was a good time, real good time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been kind of in the same boat too, thinking about I need to finish games, but
Right.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Dragon Ball Kakarot both come out on the 17th, which is
Yes.
what is that? 8 days away. The reality is there's no way I'm slicing any game open and giving it all, a old finish right now. I've just kind of if I get to it, if I get to Death Stranding, I finish it, I do. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
made
gonna try
peace
to
with
knock out
that.
Link's Awakening and Resident Evil 2 before next Friday because I'm gonna tear into Kakarot pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah. And what's really cool too, I heard that 30 hours for the story, up to maybe 60, 80 if you give it all you got. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, good stuff.
I spent, I think, 15 minutes on the phone with Josh Wednesday trying to convince him to buy the collector's edition for Kakarot, and I got him. And he went to add it to his cart, and it was unavailable.
It's true.
Oh
You're a terrible
no.
person. He played on that horrible feeling I have, that FOMO, fear of missing out. And I was like, what if Jaken's right and I need this $200 collector's edition? And then fate intervened on my behalf.
I said, like the book's worth how did we break it down? The game was worth 60.
Yeah, so he was like, so it's basically it's 140 at that point, right?
Yeah, and then the book's worth like what, 5, 15?
Probably.
10,
It's a steal at any
15.
price was his
Yeah.
rationale.
The statue's really only $100 if you break it down,
Right, if you break it down.
which is a good deal. It's a nice statue.
Yep.
It is quite nice, and I cannot wait to get the hands on mine. So, Amazon, you better deliver that motherfucker on time. That's all I'm saying.
They've never done it right for me, man.
They often
you
don't
get
for
it,
me either.
It's at like 9 p.m. Like it's nowhere near like I've got the whole day off. I can't wait to play this. It's like I'm crashing.
Oh, yeah.
Things bringing it up to my door.
They even tease you with like a little bird feather, like, "Oh, it will be delivered on time," and then you're like, "Oh, 8:59. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna play it. Oh wait, it has to install. I guess I'll play it tomorrow."
Yep.
It's
Been my
fantastic.
experience.
Fantastic.
Tripping.
Moving all the way over to the left, Mr. V Sips, Mr. VCIPZ. Welcome to another stream, my friend. How you been and what you been playing, dog?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been streaming a lot. Like my plan for the holiday season was to take a little break, and I ended up just streaming a lot instead of editing content. Which the last 2 days I've been editing a lot for 2 collab videos that are dropping tomorrow. One on my channel and one on another content creator, Turbo Jesse's channel.
Okay.
And we got
cool.
an overrated video from 2019 and an underrated video from 2019. Games you might have missed. So
Nice.
it's gonna be a real nice contrast to like what came out that was overrated to what came out and underrated, especially my taste compared to his taste. It's very diverse. But I've been playing a lot of Valhalla or VA11 Hall A. It basically looks like an algebra question when you look at the name, but it's a dope game. It's a cyberpunk-esque setting where you're a bartender and you're giving clients that come in drinks and stuff, and all they do is complain about the bar being like horrible, smelling like piss and all that kind of crap. But it's a great game. I've also been playing Gato Roboto, which is kind of like a Mega Man game, but
Okay.
you're a cat in a mech suit. And it's a $3.99 game from Devolve Digital. It's super dope. Aside from all that, been pretty well, honestly, and got a lot more streams and content coming soon, that's for sure. And thanks again for having me on, and yeah, that's everything really.
Yo,
I
100%,
hope to play
100%.
some, Owl Boy. I hope to play some Owl Boy soon. And I have been playing Outer Worlds for the first time.
Cool.
Amazing, such a great game.
Oh,
I've been kind of mercilessly getting to everyone though. Like my first playthrough, I'm just killing everyone.
I also checked out your River City Girls stream. Did you ever finish that? Did you play more of it or?
I am still playing more of it, but I actually I passed that boss, but I'm not farther than that.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I still haven't even. Mine's still like it might as well be shrink wrap still. So.
It's such a great game though. It's definitely one of the best fighters. And I was watching Chris's stream the other day, the Sega Genesis, right, Chris?
Yes.
He was playing Streets of Rage, and
Very
we actually
nice.
were talking about how you can actually play online in that game, and that game is a classic beat 'em up game too. So.
Well, moving right down below, perfect transition, Mr. Chris Levi. Thank you for coming on tonight, man. How you been? What you been playing?
I've been doing pretty good after getting away from the holiday season because at my job it just like drained me, So now I'm trying to be able to refocus, put more focus on the channel and not just streaming because like it's easy to just pop up a stream and go live. Hey, I'm playing this game, but to actually sit down, play the game, and then come to a video and actually talk about the game, it's a lot harder for me. So I've been getting ready to get back into doing videos and all that, getting hyped for the games coming out this year. I'm not sure if I'll pick it up maybe a little bit after, but Kakarot does look like one of the games I'll pick up. But other than that, I've been playing some Pokemon Shield some more. I actually did a stream of it before we went live here. Was actually going through the tower to face Leon, and it kept going. And I was like, another person. I was like, can I beat this before the Lootcast tonight? And nope, it didn't happen.
Yo, Chris, tell them about the fire you spit. And you got
Okay. So I do something that I just randomly threw out there, and T Belly said I need to keep doing it in streams. So I kind of just promote, hey, let's get to 10 likes. So Brian and Stitched and all that were up in there. Get me to 10 likes. So when I got to 10 likes, I put some music on, and I just spit some words out there, like kind of like a rap. I rap, talk about the people that are in the stream, the game that I'm playing, and have a little fun.
Very
I
nice,
wasn't
man.
ready. I wasn't ready, guys. My hand. I had to put my phone down. The heat was
Fire.
protruding from the speakers.
Burning.
I couldn't
Yeah.
handle it, dude. I said, Chris, you better warn me next time, homie, because I need to take some Advil. I need to take some aspirin, mix it with a little bit of gin before I listen to those fire rhymes.
But outside of Pokemon Shield, I've been playing, as V-Sip said, the Sega Genesis Collection, because T Belly got me on to wanting to play that, and I saw it on sale during the holidays for $15. So I went and picked it up on the PS4, and I went through it on a stream, because I was like, hey,
Yeah.
y'all are into the retro stuff. I was like, I'm play the game, and Streets of Rage. So I got to say, it's probably my favorite game on the collection. The gameplay, the music, the art style. It's very, very solid game,
Definitely
and
top
I'm
10
looking
on
to
there.
go out there and beat Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, and definitely am, after playing that, more hyped for the fourth one.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, as always, thank you for coming on tonight. We have a very big show lined up, and we're glad you're here to chat with us tonight. Moving on to the man in the middle over here, the narrator himself, Mr. Monopulse. Some say, man, that you woke up at the butt-ass crack of dawn today to talk about Pokemon. How was today, and what you been playing?
It wouldn't have been so hard the night before. I didn't even get into it, but I had a night the night before. Not much sleep was had, so I was like, had chuggy coffee in one hand, trying to set up everything in the other hand, and it was an extravaganza. But it was actually, I mean, it was really cool to see it live. I actually miss a lot of directs, either being due to sleep or being at work. I haven't really caught a ton of them live, so it was cool to see the news as it came out, and all the reactions were genuine. I was absolutely, actually, I can't wait to get into it. I'm actually really happy with the model that they're moving forward with Sword and Shield, and it sparked a fire into me today as well, because we'll talk about the new Gigantamax forms they put in there. I went and I spent the rest of the day today farming Gigantamax forms I didn't have and trying to get the ones that they were just added.
Okay.
Had a lot of fun, and we'll go over what those forms are. But otherwise, I did boot up my Classic WoW sub again, and I'm trying to get to 60 to do some raid content. And other than that, I've just been playing Pokemon.
Absolutely. Yeah, same here, guys. If you guys have been following the channel, you know that we've just been putting out a ton of Pokemon content almost on the daily. So that's kind of what I've been doing over here, is just kind of been playing a lot of Pokemon Shield and Pokemon Sword. I've been playing both, so there is that. Other than playing that, I really haven't touched any other games besides like Jedi Fallen Order. I did try Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm kind of working my way through that. Hopefully I get that done before Kakarot and Tokyo Mirage Sessions take over my life here in about a week. So very excited for those to come out. Real quick before we get into the news, guys, just a little bit of housekeeping I didn't do at the beginning of the show. Just so everyone knows, if you guys are new here, again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come check out our stuff. But tomorrow on Friday, guys, we are going to have our Soul Link, that guy over here, and myself. We have our Soul Link, which is like a Nuzlocke that we do. We're working our way through Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. That starts at 8 p.m., so make sure you guys come by for that on Friday. Saturdays and Sundays right now, we're doing shiny hunting over on Pokemon Sword and Shield. And this weekend, we're going to have a shiny raid just for you guys. It's not going to be the same one that we hosted last time. We have a brand new one coming this weekend, so watch out for that. Monday, you guys got Mono Monday, and he's going to be working his way through something special on Monday as well. He probably has a community day for you guys, so we have a lot of stuff coming up, so make sure you guys stay in tune with us. So, Mono, let's go ahead and get into the news, and let's not hold our breath anymore. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Mons. Let's talk about the Pokemons. Let's talk about those big old Pokemon, the Gigantamax ones, today.
The big old Pokemon. And again, if you hadn't seen, I did do a reaction this morning. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. Where you can see all the reactions live, and Dom is in there as well, throwing his hype in the chat. So he was definitely hyped for it, and I think most everybody on the panel would be. Pokemon Sword and Shield expansions, just to start it off, are going to add over 200 existing Pokemon and much, much more. So unlike previous games in the series, we kind of talked about in the green room before going live, how they usually put out your super version after Uh, Pokemon Sword and Shield won't be getting a new game a year later with an extra adjective. Instead, Pokemon Sword Expansion Pass and Shield Expansion Pass DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield will allow you to play new stories and Galar using the save data and pocket monsters you already have. They'll also be bringing over 200 existing Pokemon to the game. The first of these new stories are called The Isle of Armor, and that's coming in June 2020. That's right around the corner, guys. And
Right around.
Crown Tundra coming fall 2020 as well. The Isle of Armor will feature new clothes, rivals, Pokemon previously unseen to the Galar region as well, like the legendary Pokemon Kubfu. And your starter will be able to Gigantamax. That's a new feature as well. There are also what appears to be Gigantamax forms of evolved Gen 1 starters, such as Venusaur and Blastoise. That direct was so saturated with teasers that it was like I had to like watch it a second time to actually absorb everything that was going in. And I, as somebody, look, I don't have the same horses in the race to people who've been playing generation after generation. Okay, I'm coming back, I'm fresh, I'm scrubbed, and maybe I don't necessarily have like the same vested right to speak. But I personally really like that they're not putting out a second title. They're giving us some reasonably priced DLC. Is a little shady that they did the national like Dex. Like I
So
think back on another one, I was like, they're gonna do it DLC, and they're gonna give you the Pokemon you want later in an expansion pack, and here we are seeing that.
So okay, so let's start the conversation there. So I want to start off with saying, so typically on when we get a mainline game, the next year we typically get something in the fashion of like an Ultra Sun, an Ultra Moon. We get an Emerald, we get a Pokemon Yellow, we get some kind of third version. It's sounding like this year we're not getting that. Instead, they're going the way of like Monster Hunter World, or they're going the way of games of today. They're going that way to build upon their game, as opposed to giving us another game that we're going to play through again, which is the same thing with additive stuff. So I want to kind of start with that question: is what's everyone's thoughts on the fact that we may not see another Pokemon game in 2020, and they're just going the way of DLC?
Uh, Personally, I just want to mention I assumed that Diamond and Pearl remakes are going to be made and released this year instead of like a Super Sword and Super Shield. I thought it would have been similar to Gen 6 with how X and Y released and the following year Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire released. I thought it would have been like that, especially with the Gen 4 remakes being highly regarded as what's supposed to be coming next.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the expansion pass, I love the concept of it. The concept of the expansion pass is great because at the end of the day, there's no reason to buy a sequel game. Many people felt like they were like a little bit bitten by Game Freak after buying Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, after buying Sun and Moon. It was mostly the same story, except for like things towards the later half, obviously, based on the Ultra Necrozma and all that. The whole
Yeah.
story behind that and the Ultra wormholes. Like they added stuff like that in, but it wasn't like a large gap and a jump for the two games or the sequels, especially compared to like Black and White and Black and White 2. Black and White 2 had its own story, new gyms, it changed the region, opened paths up that you couldn't access before. It was much different. What they shown for the expansion pass, though, I thought was pretty neat. I think it was cool that they at least gave out the Slowpoke today.
Yes.
For those the Galarian Slowpoke. The only thing that I was like a little bit like, they released it and you can't evolve it. Like I know they want to save the evolutions for when the DLC releases, but I feel like they could have just used a different Pokemon instead, right? Like they could have just probably used something else to fit in that gap instead of the Slowpoke, because it's like they give you a Slowpoke and you can't do anything with it. It's gonna sit in your box and it's not competitively viable. You can't use Eviolite on it. You can't use it. Uh, when it comes to what they've shown for the regions, I like the region where it's the snowy area more than the sun area. I'm pretty sure what they're gonna do is the winter area is south of the starting town. They're gonna have you starting out down there for that area, and that's where all the legends are gonna be. The dens for the legends are gonna be down there, and that's another thing I liked about the DLC is that there's the two new wild areas, which is great because there's many people, even including myself, that feels the current wild area is not to say it's small, but like it's not that big. It's at most half the size of the Great Plateau from Breath of the Wild, and it's a fun area. Don't get me wrong, we have great times in raids all the time,
Mhm.
but it can get a little boring going through the same area. So it's nice that there's two fresh areas coming. One that's more based in a snowy area, and one that's more based in a tropical theme.
Yeah.
Uh, the concept of the rivals, though, I like the concept of the rivals, but the problem I have is all the Pokemon I started the game with are level 100. So what trouble am I gonna have? What training am I gonna do with this guy that supposedly trained Leon if I already beat him and I'm at the top of the battle tower?
Yeah.
Like as
Increase
we see
level
on the
cap,
screen right
homie.
here, real quick.
Increase level cap, 150.
Yeah, they may have to increase the level cap or something because, like, for people who've already played through the game for a decent amount of time, they already have their Pokemon maxed to level 100. It's one of those things where it's a little hard to be okay with because there's not really going to be a challenge. Unfortunately, it's going to be like around the same level of things after you'd beat Leon normally, most likely. And
Yeah.
what we just saw on the screen,
There
real
is that.
quick. I don't mind to cut anyone off. I know I'm talking a little too much. I'm sorry, but the G Max forms for the starters, I think that should have been in the game from the beginning because all of our starters that we got from the beginning of the game can't G Max unless they make an update where it forces them to be able to be G Max. But the
I
ones that we
mean,
currently have can't do it.
you have to remember too, the stars don't have hidden abilities either. So the three
Yeah, they
starters don't have hidden
Yeah.
abilities. So they're gonna have to patch in hidden ability as well
Yeah.
as the ability to Gigantamax. So there's probably gonna be like something to where you give it a Gigantamax stone or you shove a Gigantamax berry and they give you like one and you get to choose like one of the three starter forms that you get. They're gonna do something of that nature. Because the reality is, somebody might have traded their starter away. Somebody may have released it. Somebody may have. So I'm sure they're going to give us some kind of item that'll allow you to Gigantamax Grookey or Sobble or whatever that line is. You know, your Rillaboom or whatever it is. I'm sure they're going to give us something that makes that be an option.
Yeah, they definitely should be able to do that. And one last thing, the legendaries are cool. Uh, the new Reggies, because those are new Reggies. Those aren't like a Reggie Ice or Reggie Steel change. Like that's like a Reggie Lightning and a Reggie Dragon, which is pretty cool. And then Zapdos goes to the gym now. He's electric fighting the way his
Mm-hmm.
legs look. Then we got Moltres, who looks fire dark, and then Articuno, I would say Ice Psychic just to make the type circle, but it looks Ghost personally, but it could be Psychic. You never know. I used to think the ponytail was just Psychic originally, but isn't it Psychic Fairy when it evolves into Rapidash, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it does eventually become Psychic Fairies. Oh, and this legendary that is shown at the very end, I kind of don't like it. The
Oh, you
one
don't
where
like
has
it?
the
Why
big
not?
brain.
Oh, big brain plays.
I don't know.
I
It
didn't
doesn't
like
look
the
like a
the
Pokemon to
two
me.
fighter
I was playing
things.
Digimon. Like I've been playing Digimon Cyber Sleuth. I didn't
Yeah.
really mention that, and
Great game.
it looked like a Digimon to me. I'll be honest.
I
It
mean,
didn't look like
there's.
a Pokemon.
I mean, that's semantics at that point. There's so much
Yeah,
crossover
it's
and
personal, of course,
stealing.
subjective that like with design, but like for me personally, that's what it looks like.
I mean,
And one thing I want to mention too, just because I know many people have had an issue with me, uh, of all the stuff I said about the games, but I did say that DLC was likely because of how empty the game seemed before I even played the game and during playing the game, from my experience personally. And
so can you
uh,
explain
I
that?
am
Explain the emptiness to me. I want to know your side because I don't have the same opinion on that at all.
the only reason I feel this way is because, of course, when you're in the wild area, it's different. The wild area is definitely the highlight of the game, along with the music and the characters as they evolve and progress through the game. The characters change, which is nice. Not a lot of games for Pokemon do that. But the casual routes, the regular routes you go through, they're a little too linear. And I kind of really felt like I was still allocated in the same gated fence going around. Uh, that's just how I felt.
But at the
And
same time,
Aron's a friend of mine. Don't worry about it. He's
but
busting
think
chops.
about this, VC. You're 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in 25 November.
All right. Think about 8-year-old VC, right? And think about if I'm just being honest. Think about 8-year-old VC, and think about if they went too far in another direction where it sounds like you want them to go. Would 8-year-old VC would he still be maybe trying to beat the game? Would he be at the 4th gym right now because of being lost, maybe not finding his way? And I'm not saying that they can't do both, but the reality is the game really isn't meant for me and you. It's meant for
And
a
that's
much
what I've
younger
been
audience.
realizing. That's what I've
So
been realizing.
but
just
that's
in
okay
time.
because our challenge doesn't come from, we don't need a riveting story. We don't need to, there's certain things that we don't need. We can do it on our own. But if you flash back and think about what you're trying to say, then you're kind of removing a whole market, which is really their demographic anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm just being honest because I see a lot of hate on the internet and people are like, it's not Breath of the Wild. Yeah, Breath of the Wild isn't for a 6-year-old.
That's true.
That's just the reality. This game is meant to be picked up by it. We can do Nuzlocke. We can start with a level 5 Pokemon at any time we want. We can eat our whole box away and try and get our own challenge. Like, there's so things that we can do to make the game quote unquote fun, right? But and a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old may not do those things. They may actually appreciate a level 100 Pokemon when the DLC comes out. They don't want the challenge, or maybe that's still challenging to them because they choose the wrong moves. They lock into the wrong thing. They don't understand meta or whatever else you want to insert here, right? Like,
Yeah. Me personally, from when I grew up, I was 7 years old and I beat Crystal version. I beat Red, so I was 7. I beat Red. I went through a first region
yeah,
and a second region. I beat Red, but not everyone's the same. Not everyone thinks the same. Not everyone is the same. The way they do things, the way they think about things, the way they act on things. Some people it takes a long time to learn about type matchups and stuff. Some people still don't know bug type beats dark type. Like there's things that people don't know about the games that they just will never find out about.
yeah,
Rock
absolutely.
type beats ice type. Like there's typings that people don't recognize because it's very hard to get into those matchups unless you've played the game long enough. So it definitely makes sense from your end that when you're a younger person, you're not going to know everything.
Yeah,
But
and that always just come from the mindset of every Pokemon game, bro, is somebody's first Pokemon game, whether
Yep.
they're 4 or 40, right?
Yeah.
It's their first Pokemon game, and if they go too far one direction, if they go too far in the meta, or you suddenly have to start like googling shit just to beat the first trainer in the first route, that's not fun for somebody. They have to make it
appeasable
approachable.
to as most people as possible.
And that's why, and honestly, I feel like that's why it hasn't changed much. Even though the whole community, which is probably 5% of the people who actually buy the game anyways, the community, they're all outraged.
Yeah, because
But
there is a large casual audience too. Because I have some
huge,
friends who are in the
huge.
casual audience that like Pokemon, but they don't like some of the changes that they've done. And then I have another side of my friends who used to play Pokemon and stopped playing because of this game. Like there's people that are like that. So
Yeah, yeah. But I just wanted to kind of go into on that side
of course, and the
of
expansion
it
pass
too.
overall, I love the concept. Personally, I thought it was be $20, 30, tiny for me, tiny bit steep, but 20 that would have been right on the money. Like that would have been good for me personally. 30, I
Can I
may
ask a
wait a little.
sincere question?
Yeah, of course.
Sincerely, okay. You quoted Pokemon Black 2. Was that a full price retail game?
It was $40, which is $10 more than this expansion, which from what we
So
know is only
40.
2 small areas. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
which
but
yeah.
I'm
What the
also
fuck
I'm
are we
also
talking
wondering
about?
though, is Pokemon Black 2 the exception or the rule? Because you said that one was full of additional content. Now is that the
Yeah,
exception or
and
the
and
rule?
changes through the whole game. I'm trying to think right now if that's considered an exception because technically I would say it's not necessarily an exception or rule. It's just something that happened and it was something that's very underrated. Like even as a game in general, Gen 5 is something very underrated. So I can't say it's an exception, but it could just be a result of how Game Freak was developing games back then compared to how they do it now. Because even in the post game back then, the Gen 5 sequels. They had the Pokemon World Tournament. You had to face all these gym leaders, and it's something really cool. And I think they mentioned in this stream today that they do have other types of gym battles coming soon with this DLC, which I thought was pretty cool. So that could at least be that extra change that could help.
It's
But
sounding like there's gonna be like a full blown story arc to each of the DLCs, and it's sounding like
yep,
there's gonna be a post game to the DLC as well.
exactly. I'm just
And
hoping it's not like the post game of the original Sword and Shield, where it's like 30 minutes to an hour. I'm hoping it's like a nice 3 hour, 4 hour for each Tundra and Isle of Armor. I'm just yeah,
the
about
only
4 hours
reason
would
I
be great.
the only reason I ask is because when again, I'm a red blue yellow person, but I do, and I have legally obtained copies of my own cartridges. Fire red and green and whatever, right? So those are full price retail games that do have new animations and have been colorized and whatever, but they're basically essentially the same game, right? So
Yeah, about
thereabouts, maybe some minor variation, but nothing like putting in 200 new Pokemon. And again, the dex is light here, so I get that it's also like finding sort of like somewhere along the line of balance. I don't understand. I personally think $30 is a fine value for what they're adding. I
So
find an okay value with that. Is
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
I think
Yeah,
I think let's talk about
$10 for me. I think it's just like the $10 extra for me is like something I don't perceive as like worth it. Only because the previous games for full price were $40. I think that's just my logic behind it. But I could totally understand your logic behind $30 being a good price. I could definitely understand
Yeah.
because you are still getting 200 Pokemon back to being playable as well, and all the
And
outfits
clothes,
that
and
are
they-
in there too. There's tons of good outfits from what I've seen actually.
And I'm
Much
not even.
better.
I'm anti-vanity. Like that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't usually make an argument for vanity, but they look like there was a pretty wide selection. Not only that, you get each shiny that they add for it,
That is
which
true.
is a ton of new content to chase on that too. I mean, Pokemon's a chase. It's just
Yeah.
like any other
So-
chase, right?
let's talk about price and the decks in a little bit, but real quick, back to the original thoughts. Josh, Jake, Chris, Levi, any thoughts on what we were talking about prior? And then let's talk about price and the decks in a minute.
I'm fixated on something the VC said.
Absolutely.
He said, God, this is so stupid, but he said it, and I'm like, huh? He said that the snow area is going to be south of the starting village. What the fuck kind of geography class did you go to?
Yeah, south.
If
yeah.
there's snow at the top of the map on Route
There's
10,
snow at the bottom of the map.
you
too.
think there's going to be snow also at the bottom?
There already is snow on the bottom. Look at the map. You can open your Sword and Shield game too. I know there's the map in there too.
Okay.
I'll just
Alright.
Google it real quick.
There's snow on the bottom. And if you don't know, Kalos is on the other side of the snow that's on the bottom.
Jeez, don't know.
We're collaboratively fact checking right now. Is there snow at the bottom?
I
of the
don't
map?
see snow at the bottom, but VSips has played a lot more Pokemon than I have, so
Yeah.
You think
I'm
he
inclined to
can
ignore the
identify
evidence.
snow?
You got the
Somebody
map
call
right
it
there.
snow.
Here's the map.
Somebody
You
call it
do not know
Snopes.
what snow looks like, Josh. You live in Ohio.
I
Probably
do.
searching if there's some snow.
You're looking at that map. I'm talking about like the actual like geographical map, not like the fine print map of where the towns are, but like the one where it's like it shows the mountains design and the trees and all that, like that one.
I'm looking at that, but I'm not seeing any snow, buddy. Way at the bottom?
Yeah, I'm like
Are you sure those aren't
Positive.
clouds? Because I see clouds.
clouds. Maybe I thought the clouds were mountains.
That
Like
might
I
be
said,
it.
I don't have it in the container. I just remember seeing it. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might just
Yeah.
be climate. Maybe just.
I'm
it's just
looking at it
really
right now.
I mean, to
There's
be
the
fair,
coast.
clouds. Maybe it's
It's-
clouds covering it.
It's the
Because I
coast.
thought it was snow
You'll
for
To
a
be
minute.
fair, even the
it
north
pulls you
part of the
down
map
and the clouds will
doesn't
see-
have snow except for one area. Like if you go beyond that, it's also green mountains. So
Yeah.
either way,
It's just the way they made the map. It's gonna be on the bottom. They're not putting it on the
But
top.
you know, like it snowed in hot climates before, right?
Yeah.
We can all agree there have been
Yeah.
freak
It was
accidents where this
snowing in
happens.
California the other day.
There you go.
I mean, that could be the story. Is like the
A
climate
lot of
change has finally
California is up in
happened.
the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dens that are acting up in the snow, the legendary ones, they'll be acting up, and that's what's gonna cause the story. The Great Tundra.
Yeah. I mean, that could be cool.
Are on chill.
That'd be cool. But anything else, Jake? Any other thoughts? Or is it or just are you cloudy over there?
I don't know. Why the fuck did they put the Triforce on the Sky Elk?
They did that on purpose. Did you hear the music that they played too? You can't tell me that the music isn't low key based on the Zelda music from Breath of the Wild. There's so much similarity.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I like
I
it. Though.
think.
Give me Triforce.
I
Elk.
mean, it's a little. I haven't listened to any buddy's point of views on this because I didn't want to like taint. Taint my own like opinion. I watched it at about, when I got on lunch today. Like I think think it was about 1 o'clock. I went to lunch, and I watched it, and I sat there afterwards, and I thought it was really good. But then I started thinking to myself, like, it's a little shitty that why didn't they put more Pokemon in the original game and then just add more in the expansion? But I do like the you can control the camera, and it feels a little bit more like, instead of, that's what one thing that frustrates me now is that I get so used to the wild area that when I go onto a route, I want to spin the camera around and I can't.
That happens to me all the time.
So I like the fact that we're gonna be able to do that. I like the bear Pokemon. I think one of the forms is obviously better, which is the fast punching style.
The water one.
Yeah, the water one will be significantly better. I like that it doesn't seem to be version exclusive. It says you can pick. I don't know if they mean the sense of you can pick which game you play.
No, it literally says that the Pokemon you get will be based on the actions you take while playing. So when you boot up the DLC, somehow, some way, the actions that you take during your playthrough will determine what your Cubchoo evolves into. It's not exclusive for each game. So you could get the dark one or you can get the water one. I just don't know what they mean by those actions. The Pokemon page literally just says the actions you take will determine what your Cubchoo evolves into. They just kind of left it pretty open. So
I like that. I like the Reggies. Didn't have my favorite Reggie.
Regigigas? Oh, my
Reggie
body
Fire.
is ready.
My body is ready. But I love
He's
Reggie.
such a pimp. That guy's such a pimp. I like him.
Yeah. I love the legendary birds. I mean, Articuno's the best.
Dope.
Dude, you don't like Chocobo Zapdos? I mean, I'm all about it, man.
You mean the... He didn't even have wings, did he? He's kind of like...
He's a fighting type. He got legs. He got ripped legs. Like his legs are ripped.
Talon's gonna rip your fucking eyes out.
Mhm.
Sponsored by Tyson Chicken.
I like the idea of exploring a cave with Josh. We can go spelunking.
We can go spelunking. That's fine. As far as Mystery Dungeon goes, I was not overly impressed just because I had heard it was just a sort of a lackluster spinoff. I don't know if that's true, though. I've never played it before. I didn't even know the demo was available. So I'll give it the old college try and give it a shot before I pass judgment that it's too harsh. But I will say, the graphics looked incredible. Like when you said like a paint, like I don't know, it looks really nice. It's a good looking game.
It reminded me of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually. As far as the expansion pass and like the DLC goes, at first I thought it was kind of a bummer because this is kind of like the first Pokemon where we've seen that happen, right? I mean, unless I'm wrong here, so please correct me because I know you guys are way more into it than I am. But at the same time, when I heard the rationale for it, since then, I think I like it a little bit more. I think that does make more sense than coming out with an entirely new release and maybe fatiguing people with too many Pokemon releases like right next to each other. Although I'm sure hardcore fans will just eat it up and probably not care. But although I think it might be an easier way just to get more game in there without necessarily having to wait on a new release.
Also, what is to stop them from doing another Let's Go?
Nothing. I mean, there's no reason they couldn't.
Because the users don't necessarily yes, there's a lot of crossover, but the main target audience can be occupied with the DLC on Sword and Shield, and then the more casual people can play the Let's Go, and then the people that are playing Sword and Shield will still probably fucking buy Let's Go.
Well, hey,
Right.
think about this too. So you have the
At
two.
least, like 70%.
You have the two producers, guys. So if you guys watch the video as I have it playing here, so we have the two producers. We have Junichi Masuda and you have Amori, right? So the two guys who are like, hey, right? But then you have a third guy, right? Who kind of looks like a female. I'll be 100% honest. Did you guys see him? Very
He was a
long,
handsome man.
long, luscious hair. I was confused, and then I was like, wait, that's a guy, which is fine. It's okay to be pretty. But here's the thing: when sure, let's call him Tony. When Tony came up and Tony was like, "Hey, I'm the producer of the DLC," that guys, my immediate thought was, okay, he's the head. He's the B team. He's the secondary team. He's the backup team. So if he's going to take the DLC and he's controlling June, he's controlling fall. That means Omori and Junichi Masuda, those two, the A team guys, those guys, they're doing something else. They're doing the next game. And typically we get each game in November. There's nothing written in stone that we don't get June. We get November, and 4 months down the line and call it March, we get the next game. There's no playbook anymore. Now that they're doing DLC, the timeline of the November goes out the window. They may eat up some other slots sometime during a February or during a March. They could do whatever they want now, and that could be Diamond and Pro Remix. That could be Let's Go Johto. That could be a whole brand new whatever. We don't know, right? It's just all assumptions because everyone's like, oh, DLC, where's my other game? Man, so we don't know, but they're doing something else, and that's awesome. So
I personally, I wouldn't mind having Totodile waddling around behind me. I would buy it.
I wouldn't mind either.
As long as Kanto's in the game, I'll buy it.
Chris Levi, what are your thoughts, buddy?
So my thoughts on the whole expansion pass is I wish they would have said it initially when you bought before the game release. Hey, like we're still working on other stuff for it because it left the people with like a lot of air took out of them when it's like only 400 Pokemon. This is all we're gonna play through. And when you go into the wild area, as much as I like it, it does get a little bland because like what's gonna be here, what's gonna be there most of the time, and after you go out around it so much, you're just like, okay, I know where I need to go for this, that, and the other thing. But to see them drop this and at a $30 price range, I think it's not too bad, but not the best price range. 20 I think would have been perfect, but 30 is not bad for me either. If it would have been any higher, I'd been like, you're just should have put this in the regular game. But to see them put so much work into this, being as you say, this probably is the B team. It lets me go to this. You're getting more Pokemon, not just other Pokemon that you've seen in the past, but new Pokemon, new things to do, new costumes or whatever, they're clothes, and then you're getting these 2 new areas, which are wild areas to go into. So you're not stuck in that one, we got to go in this one wild area. You get this other 2 wild areas, which are totally different. One in a sunny, one in a snowy area. So you're obviously going to get different Pokemon based on those 2 areas, which is a good thing. And then it leads me to go like, okay, this is coming out in June. This one's coming out towards the fall, probably October. I'm thinking, well, this means that the 18 could possibly be working on the next game and them doing this gives them more time to put more work into the next mainline game that comes out sometime next year, or maybe, hey, we're working on the next version of the Switch. This is just something that I talked about on my stream, working on the next version of the Switch to come out in 2021 because we're going to have to make a better version of the Switch. So why don't we work on the next version of the Pokemon game and have that be one of the release titles in holiday 2020? That's just something that I thought of, and I was like, maybe what if they even do another expansion? Hey, we got something coming out in the winter and in the spring to maybe even entice you even more to still play this game while we're working on the next one, give us more time to actually do a full, really big game because everybody was always griping about the graphics and this and that, but maybe they're taking those into consideration and they're putting this expansion out there, working on this really, really hard so they can make the better game, that big, huge leap everybody's looking for.
Chris, you were starting to sound like you think Game Freak gives a fuck about us.
I know they don't get. Most of these companies don't give a
Careful, careful now, Chris. don't want to sound like a crazy person. We like to have a good time here on the Game Looters. Like and subscribe, as this is the best podcast on Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Absolutely, do it both. Okay, so let's then just talk about the temperature on the internet is about the Dex cut. Everyone's angry about the Dex cut. The moment DLC was uttered, everyone's like, "Wah, it should have been in the game to begin with. They're charging us for what should have been there." Wah. That was the internet, honestly. That was all of Twitter. So I want to talk about that because I don't have the same feelings. And I want to see what the panel thinks of that. I want to see on what side you guys are on of what we have, is it not enough? Do you feel like we are being nickeled and dimed for that? Or do you what side of the fence are you guys on as far as DLC and the national decks? Because bring national decks was still trending today.
I'm on the side of less than 2 months ago, Masuda specifically said no DLC was being planned to put Pokemon in the game.
That's
So
marketing.
it's not good marketing. It's called there's better ways to say that. And just like earlier in the year when they made mistakes in their public marketing, they failed to get the point across good enough to the fans who may not be smart enough to know better. So because like many people have said, there is many people who are just horrible people hating and wishing death threats to them, and those people are wrong. Those people are horrible people. But then there's people who are on the opposite side of the spectrum who are overly defensive and saying yes and consuming anything Game Freak gives them, regardless if it's good or not, in a negative way, making it like people who have any critiques are wrong. And that's not true either. In my opinion, like Chris said, $20 would have been perfect. If someone buys it for $30, then go buy it, enjoy it. It's probably worth it to you. Everything's subjective at the end of the day. And I don't know, not much else I can think of off the top of my head, but I know something will pop up and I'll have another thing to say about it.
Fair.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. They literally specifically stated like a week before the game released, no Pokemon that were cut are going to be in the Galar decks. And they couldn't even wait longer than 2 months to say, "Oh, we were lying to you. Now buy the games for $30, the DLC." Uh, it seems a little bit wrong, but that's just because the way that they could have said there isn't anything coming is we have nothing planned at this time. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. Not make this big boudel and just say a paragraph of why Pokemon aren't coming back because you choose for it to be like that.
Wasn't that from a
That's not the right way to say
translation of a translation though?
That was from. I think that was from a different discussion, not from this exact
I
one.
know there was something that was like a
'cause this
translation
exact one,
from
what you're
from
talking
Japanese
about
to
happened.
Russian to
Yeah,
US.
yeah,
Or
that
English to
that
US.
happened over the summer. The one I'm talking about happened November
Okay.
12th. So
I don't know
I
if
know
it
what
was
you're
the same
talking
one.
about though. What you're talking about, yeah, there is a translation jump for like you said, the Russian to that.
Because they had
that
a big,
happened over
there
summer.
was a big fiasco around something. It was like a translation of a translation. I just
Yeah,
can't remember what
yeah,
it
there
happened.
there was. It happened over the summer though. What I'm talking about was week before the game released.
Got you.
So, VC, you are upset that a multi-million-dollar company lied to you.
Well, when you consume products, you don't like to be lied to. At least I don't consume
I'm
stuff
about to burst your
openly
bubble
while
there, buddy.
enjoying being lied to. I don't like being lied to.
We
I
get lied
think-
to all the time. It's literally all companies do.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't be putting your money into these companies then. I didn't put any money into this game yet.
It's not lying. I don't think they were lying to like try and trick people. I think they were lying to try and keep their cards
Under wraps, yes.
keep their
Yeah.
cards to
Of
their
course.
chest.
Of course. But the thing is with how big the backlash was, there's no reason to because 400 is way too little to be like, oh, we're not going to say anything at all. Like, if you at least said we're going to have something announced at a future date or something like that, like I mentioned just before, that would have at least held people over better in the way that they carried out their whole discussion about it. Because, like Aron said, and 400 is way too little, and Aiden only 30. Sure, and loot boxes are only $1 in other games. And then Jake says, I really do not think Sword and Shield need more Pokemon because he feels different. Everyone feels different. Like I said, it's all subjective at the end of the day.
So, and also the pass is $30. They say you can buy it so you can be able to play it day one. They did not say that it's the only way you can buy it. You can most likely buy them separate. I doubt it's like Luigi's Mansion where you have to pay the whole price. So you can buy the first one most likely for $15.
Oh, the armor one, yeah.
And then if you're done, you're done. In it for $15, you paid $65 for if you bought your game from Walmart, you bought it for $50 plus 15 for the expansion pass. You paid $65
At Walmart.
at Walmart. God forbid. Oh my God.
I love Walmart though. Go to
Throw
Walmart,
my
they
computer
always
out the
have great
window.
deals.
They fucking scammed me. I have 150 hours in this fucking game.
Well, I don't got 150.
That's how many Pokemon there was originally.
This is
That
true.
was
That's an hour for each Pokemon.
So I mean,
it's true.
I have I think Pokemon fans were treated very well for a very long time.
I agree, and I think that's the
And
problem.
I think on some level they're like, this is not a straight dig to anybody, but I think it's a little naive to think that the Pokemon franchise is going to outlast the way the market shifts. It is kind of written in the stars, and I'm not saying I'm okay with it because of this, but I am saying that Pokemon fans have been treated very well for a very long time. But you got to think about it. Most mainline Pokemon games were on tertiary handhelds that they weren't trying to push necessarily into everybody's home as like the de facto Nintendo device you should have in your home, right? So having maybe large Pokédex was a very big selling point to push that game on whatever handheld they were on. I'm just looking at it from like a market standpoint. And then at a certain time, now the Switch is the de facto device that went in your home. They have no incentive to put any more money into it than they have to, just like everything else in the gaming industry nowadays. And I think it's maybe people were holding out with such hope, but I think it's just a little naive to think that they're going to get a 1-to-1 ratio where not a lot of other, maybe not no other is not the whole thing, but not a lot of other games, especially AAA titles, are getting that treatment nowadays.
And I mean, you hit something the nail was hit on the head. What I love to hear is my version of it is wah, because that's what I hear. What I like to hear is I like how and I'm part of the Pokemon community. I see I'm deep in it. Pokatuber, Dom over here. The reality though is I like how Pokemon fans tend to act like Pokemon's the only game they play. Because it's not.
No,
a lot of times...
That's how people are.
A lot of times, Pokemon game is their third, their fourth, their fifth pillar. They're playing League. They're playing WoW. They're playing Destiny. They're playing Borderlands. They're playing Apex Legends. They're playing fucking Fortnite. And they are throwing money at battle passes and skins and things that don't do anything for them. And over time, they spend hundreds of dollars. They put it on their mom's credit card, but it's still money. And they spend hundreds of dollars, but yet when the word DLC is mentioned, because it's a Pokemon game, again, wah is what's on the internet. And I just don't understand it, because if you play any other games, which you do, I'm talking to you, you play other games. And if you're listening to this on audio services across the world, make sure you follow. If you play other games, why does the feedback, why does the outrage need to be this because of one company providing DLC, when you have companies like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter who they give you 12 fighters and then they charge you for the fighter pass? When you have Smash who charges you, they're about to charge you again for another fighter pass coming very soon when they said no other fighters are coming. So, I mean, and they're going to charge you $25. They're going to charge you $8 a pop, whatever it is. So I just don't understand why the backlash comes out when this happens. The alternative is we could have gotten, super sword and super shield, and we would have spent $60 again. We'd have to play through the same adventure all over, and then through the 4th gym, then we get to go and do the side story. Then through the 8th gym, we get to do the other side story. But it's the same damn game, like when Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out. I think they're making a very good business decision and a good consumer decision by doing this, because essentially you're getting what you would have gotten already for half the price of the full game. And again, if you have played any other games like WoW, like Destiny, I've bought 3 expansions, guys, for Destiny. They were all $40 a pop. They add about 2 hours of story and about 4 maps. It's not worth it. But if you're a Destiny fan and you spend hundreds of hours a month on this game, you just divide your hours by money. You're spending pennies to get a lot more enjoyment out of a game that you constantly play. So if you're a Pokemon fan, stop fucking crying. Divide your hours by how much money it is. Look in your couch. Get the money that your mama gives you for doing your bed every week. Put it to the side. And spend the $30 on the game you love. Or
pull some teeth out of your mouth. Look for the tooth fairy to help.
Look for the damn tooth fairy. Either that or put it away, put it on your shelf, and stop bitching. And that's my quote for today.
Gaming is an expensive hobby.
So say people buy Fortnite from GameStop, a digital code.
Yes.
It is a free game.
I laugh all the time whenever I think about it.
People buy an
Fuck
Xbox
this.
because they gave you Fortnite for free.
Yo, the Fortnite's $30, and it's just the code for a free game. At least
God.
the DLC for an expansion pass is actually like worth it then. Like in
At least it's
comparison.
like when people say it should have
Like
been
by a
included
large
in the
margin.
game. Yeah, let's include the normal routine. The 1 through 8, and then the quote unquote, the what do they call the Elite Four.
Yeah.
But let's add in also 2 extra regions with their own plots and
Their own wild areas.
yeah, let's do that for $60.
I've got a prediction that I think that price tag or not, I think that people are going to find themselves enjoying this DLC much more than they would have done a re-release of Sword and Shield.
And think about this: you're gonna get it in June. You're gonna get it in June too. You don't even have to wait all the way till November. You're gonna get a DLC in June. So if you continue shiny hunting, battling online, this just increases the longevity of the game that you already love, and you're gonna put it on the shelf a lot later than maybe you would have this time around. Because if you're a Pokemon fan, you honestly probably by February you put the hot game on the shelf. And then you boot up an emulator, or you pick up your 3DS or your DS, and you start playing another Pokemon adventure. If you're really deep in it, right? Because that's usually what I do every year. After Sword and Shield was done, I was like, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to do a shiny Nuzlocke of Let's Go again, just for funsies. But now I'm like, okay, well, maybe I continue playing competitively through June. And then again, I just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I like it. I understand not everybody will. And, I poke fun at the money piece, but the reality is I just feel like it's not that much, and I think this just increases the longevity of Sword and Shield, and that's exactly what they want. They want people playing, and they're making money while doing it, while they're working on something else for us. And then we get another game we're going to talk about here in the news section very soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna mention something about how there is raids that they were mentioning that I was hoping that they would mention at the direct. The Toxtricity Gmax raid. I was assuming beforehand that was going to be announced at this direct, and there was rumors about Detective Pikachu 2 being shown as a teaser. That never happened. So those are my two big predictions. And just like Nintendo always does, they don't do. What
I was
you expect.
disappointed, man. I want Detective Pikachu. I wanted to play it on Switch.
Dom and I both wanted to see a new iteration of the trading card game.
Oh, so bad.
I want
so
Pokemon
bad.
Pinball.
Or
Pokemon Pinball, yes, please.
Yeah.
But there was actually more to the direct than just the Pokemon, Sword and Shield backlash. We also found out that there's going to be a port over, a reimagining, if you will, of the 2006 dungeon crawler Pokemon Mystery Dungeon under the title Rescue Team DX. And we can expect for this game to launch actually pretty soon as well, on March 6th. We also got just a little tease, not a lot of information, not a lot of solid information. We also found out Pokemon Home is slated for a February 2020 release, designed to essentially replace the Pokemon Bank. Pokemon Home is compatible with Pokemon Go, Let's Go Pikachu, and Eevee, and Sword and Shield. It also can be linked to Pokemon Bank, which means it effectively is compatible with the 3DS Pokemon games as well, which I believe, VC, that was something you wanted, so you could port over some Pokemon you've been playing with for quite a long time, and hopefully throw them in your lineup if they're in the game. Because of the link to Pokemon Bank, theoretically you will have Pokemon you will have collected as far back as Sapphire and Ruby on the Game Boy Advance could be transferred to Pokemon Home. So that's the theory. That's the working theory. Don't want to have a whole lot of solid evidence, but somebody did point out in the chat. I wanted to move on to that too, because somebody did point out to the chat that you're going to have Pokemon Home. You don't have to have it, but it's going to be kind of a crux to the whole ecosystem. So not necessarily free beyond the DLC there as well, if you include the subscription for that. But so far, Nintendo-based subscriptions, I don't think have been unreasonable. Like Nintendo Online's like $2 for the whole year, something ridiculous.
Pokemon Bank was $5 a year on the 3DS. So
I mean, that's like nothing.
I don't imagine Pokemon Home being more than maybe $10 at the most. Because I'm sure you're gonna be able to buy it on iOS as well, because you're gonna be able to access it on your home. So you'll be able to get it on the Google Play Store and the iOS store. So I mean, $5.99, $9.99 at the most. I assume $5-6. I mean,
it can't
It's
be
probably
like,
$9.99.
because you can only transfer in Pokemon to Sword and Shield. They're going to be in the game, right?
available.
Right.
In the
But
plus the 200, and then you don't even need to buy the DLC to get those Pokemon.
Yeah, you can give through trades.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise trades, you can get them through whatever.
Threatening Josh if he plays it and just like, give me all your Pokemon, you little bitch.
I don't know if this is a
Yeah.
spoiler alert, but when you get the Slowbro, it doesn't add any Dex information. I was a little bit disappointed on that. I wanted to see it pop up with some little tidbit about the Galar region Slowpoke.
They can't
What?
even just say something like a sentence. They can't even do that. Like
It's locked
this
behind the
Slowbro likes to
DLC.
swim in the water. Like you can't even say that. Like
Oh, and during the video too, they do have the Slowbro evolution like sharpied out. Did you guys see that?
Well,
What is he gonna be?
Consider
Water ghost or something?
Poison.
Water See, at first I was
Poison
thinking
be cool.
poison, but he's
Oh, no,
wearing
it's-
like a
it's psychic,
cloak.
Psychic poison, probably. It's probably psychic poison because its main type's psychic. So it has the acid when you get the Slowpoke in game too. So, but then there's the slow bro because I think the slow king is the poison one, while the other one's gonna be pure psychic. It's not even gonna have water type because it doesn't have water type already.
well, VC, consider this fluff. It doesn't have any Dex information because it's Slowpoke. It'll come just later on.
Slowly, yeah.
It's going to catch
Are
up.
you so funny, Mono? Please
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
write my
'Cause
material.
I have
But anyways, I'm excited for Mystery Dungeon. I know VC and Jake, I know you guys have booted up. Chris Levi, did you boot up Mystery Dungeon, the demo yet?
I downloaded it, but I didn't boot it up. 'cause
Yeah.
went
So
to
I still have to
the
download it too. So I'm excited to jump back into that. I have that on the I think it was like is it the GBA? Is it a Game Boy Advance? That's the one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
06, so I would imagine.
It was
Or-
a
Yes.
DS.
Advance and
So.
DS. It was both simultaneously. They had blue on GBA and red on DS.
Okay. Yeah, I think my daughter has the red one, so I'm excited to jump into that and play that. And then we get that in March too, right?
March 3rd, I think.
So that's gonna be a cool game to stream and play and
So you
stuff.
get
So
basically a whole
March,
cycle of
March,
Pokemon
March. All
each
these
year.
games in March.
Yeah, dude. March is going to be
shaping
very. March is going to be very interesting.
Everybody's
Yeah.
like hungry hippos for sales.
March is the
It's
new
crazy.
September.
What's really coming out in February though?
Nothing.
Pokemon Home will be yours for
Oh yeah, sorry everybody, I forgot about Pokemon Home. Sorry. That's a
we
banger.
didn't get any Pokemon Sleep. They were like, screw that.
I was
Oh, yeah.
sad
Probably
about
didn't get
that.
Anything on that? Yeah.
I was a little disappointed in that. I really wanted to see online. I want my little Poke Paddle, whatever it is. I want to know how it's gonna how am I gonna get shinies while I sleep? That's all I want to know about. Let
I
me
already
know,
have
Game
Pokemon.
Freak.
I already have
What are going to
Pokemon.
be the odds on that? Sleep shiny hunting.
I mean, it'll probably depend
so
on how much you
easy.
snore or not. Do you
Yeah.
snore? How much is
Well,
your
how do you get the
REM
charm?
sleep? If you have good REM sleep, maybe you get like a times
Yo.
3. Like, I mean, we don't know. We don't
some
know.
EXP boost would be pretty dope.
All I'm saying is put those shinies in my veins and let's see how I sleep. Let me get them shinies.
You just get like a little kid, and you give him your Switch, and you say,
Well, I
"All right,
don't know
now
why you're
I want
grabbing
you to
these
hatch
kids.
these eggs."
I don't know. Are you really pro Jaken?
No, it's Papa.
Papa.
Papa Joe.
Papa
He's
Jake.
like, come here, little cub. I need some shinies.
Come here, little cub. Now this is what I want you to do. I want you to ride around in a circle on the bike, all right? And I'm gonna take a nap. And if one looks different from the rest, you wake me up and you get out of my house after.
One looks different than the rest. They bring over a
One of
random
these-
ass Pokemon.
If one of these things don't look like the other, if the square doesn't fit in the circle, then get the fuck out of my house.
So speaking about things looking different, we might have a Nintendo Switch coming very soon that's going to probably look extremely different than the one that we have today. So moving on with the news, we're done with Pokemon. We're moving into the Switch. And will we get a Switch Pro? Will it be 8K? Will it be 12K? Will it be 1440p? Will it have a 2080 999 Ti? I don't know, Chris. Will it?
Well, it will. You'll be able to play your Pokemon DLC in the fall, more than likely, if this analyst has anything to say about it or if its prediction is correct. There's a bold statement saying the Switch Pro with a 4K gaming experience coming in 2020 at $399. Analyst predicts on Tweakdown. Now, this is kind of a reimagining of a story that originally appeared on GameIndustry.biz. where they were kind of going through some analyst predictions for the year. It's kind of a startup thing. So we've already seen the speculation come out, right? I've seen YouTube videos, seen articles trending, seen tweets, XYZ. Nintendo could make a splash in the 2020s next gen market with a new Switch model, complete with beefier internal hardware like a new chipset, and increased RAM to enable 4K gaming. Now that Nintendo has the handheld market completely dominated with the base Switch and the on-the-go Switch Lite, it might be time for Nintendo to challenge the upcoming PS5 and Xbox Series X directly. This is from a quote from Sekran Toto, who was speaking with GameIndustry.biz. He says, "There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Nintendo will launch a Switch Pro in 2020. My guess is at $399. The new Switch Pro could be one of two things: a dedicated console-only box that doesn't actually have any tablet portion for on-the-go play, or a more powerful version of the current hybrid Switch model. I'm betting on the former right now." That's direct from the article. Right now, Nintendo has two handhelds, one that docks and one that is handheld only, so they don't explicitly need another on-the-go device. What do you guys think? Think that's too wild out there to call it a Switch? I mean, people already gave them hell for saying it's a Switch, but I can't dock it. Well, it's not a Switch, and I have to have it at a port. So I don't know.
We already have something like that. It's called the Switch Lite. It doesn't fucking switch. So
well, that's what I'm saying. They've already got the Switch. They got the one on the go. I mean, it's a possibility for them to put something that's stationary.
Well, people been that's been a speculation for a minute. He's not the first one to say that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
I was just gonna say it's completely, plausible. Is it gonna compete with the PS5? No, it's not the same fucking market. It's like the Switch is like a companion to the Xbox, to the PlayStation. For the most part, a lot of people don't have it as their one and only console. And if they do, it's probably because their parents bought it for them.
I'm going to be sincere in asking this question, but also a little bit sarcastic. Is anybody on the Switch asking for 4K? Like, at all? Like, that's not even something I consider when I'm playing it.
I don't know. A lot of people are bitching about the Pokemon graphics.
That's different. That's totally
here's a real thing. Guys, when I log into my Switch because of shiny hunting, I have like 50 people who are always online now. I gotta go and delete people. If I don't know you, I'm sorry, you gotta go. But long story short, when I log in, bro, I can't tell you how many people are on YouTube. It's crazy. And you have to think they're probably on the actual Switch. They're probably like watching it like this, or maybe they have it docked. I don't know. People are nutty. But whether they have it docked or on the Switch, they're 1080 limited on docked. They're 720 limited on handheld. So if they give you a Pro that can do 4K output, that means that they can watch YouTube, maybe Netflix, whatever, in 4K. Dude, people still use their Wii today for Netflix, like the Wii, not the Wii U, the Wii. So it
Netflix
wouldn't
was a disc too for the Wii.
Yeah, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me, and I'm sure maybe some people would even prefer that they can literally just hit the home button after they're done playing Smash and just jump into Netflix or YouTube, so it sounds silly. I don't think 4K games will happen. Absolutely not. But 4K output, I think that there probably is an appetite, and you gotta think, dude, they're about to outsell the Xbox One right now, and
I don't doubt it'll be true 4K. I really do. I think it'll be some upscale trickery if they do. I don't think it'll be true 4K.
That sounds more likely to me.
Yeah.
I mean, really though, but if you think about it this way, you could do 4K output from like a 750 Ti on a computer, maybe even a little bit less. And I'm just talking about 4K video output. So a Tegra X2, bro, like that could do output.
A 780 Ti also is about this big, or at its smallest about this big, and also in a case that ventilates out air. You start to run in to be able to dissipate the heat because it has passive cooling.
But look at the Shield. Look at the new updated Shield that's running the new Tegra chip. That has 4K output. It does.
Passive cooled, or is there a fan in there?
Passive cooled. It's passive. Wow. Yeah, check it out. Honestly, check it. I'm not even like throwing shade or anything. I'm just saying like that can do 4K output. So the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is figuring out that janky ass dock is, I don't know. That becomes the question mark for me, is because it has to pass through the dock. And I don't.
Not if
That
the
dock
Switch
is
is the dock.
$80.
Oh, okay. So
Show some.
okay, I apologize. Let me take 2 steps back. We're talking about the Switch TV, right? They're gonna take a page out of the PlayStation book. The Switch TV. That's what we're talking about. It's gonna be always plugged in. Okay, it could happen.
You mean the Switch U?
Oh,
Here's
Damn.
the
oh,
thing.
fire TM
That'd be-
trademark.
That'd be a clusterfuck, wouldn't it?
I'm working on a video that talks explicitly why I think that it's an inevitability that we're going to get a beefier Switch by the end of the year. And I've got a lot of reasons there, some less plausible, some more plausible, but chief among them, I think, is Nintendo. First off, this would not be the first time I've done this, right? We got the new Nintendo 3DS, which sort of created a little bit of marketplace confusion, but it was more powerful, and then you did have games that would only run on the new Nintendo 3DS. But the other thing about Nintendo is they never have to compete. They're not going to embroil themselves in some sort of like entrenched spec war with Sony and Microsoft because they don't have to. Their first-party IPs are strong enough that they know who their fan base is. They know that they have enough drawing power that they don't need to have the strongest console on the market, and they're just never going to fight that battle, in my opinion. But what I do think will happen is they will have to release a beefier version of the Nintendo Switch because right now the Nintendo Switch is about to get essentially left in the dust to a 1.5 to 2 generation degree, right? Once you move forward with a 9 teraflop system and a 12 teraflop system from Microsoft, Nintendo, the Switch, even though it's a lot of fun, it's portable, and in the hands of the right developer, they can make some really nice looking games for it. At that point, the gap becomes significant to a place where they might start to struggle with third-party support. And even though third-party support didn't solely get them to the place where they're at now, it certainly didn't hurt much. And they had way better third-party support this generation than they did with the Wii U. So I don't think they're going to be willing to sacrifice that. And if they want to make sure that porting games, that are going to be made for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X is going to be viable, I think they're going to have to up the specs out of necessity a little bit. Now, in terms of how I'd implement that, I would be okay with one of two things. One, through some technical wizardry, they just do create a beefed up regular Switch the way we know it that can dock and everything. Or two, maybe you create a Switch where the dock is more powerful and those games are maybe like, hey, this can only be played in dock mode. I don't know how they would go about the strategy, but I still think that you're gonna have to have a more powerful Switch.
I
So
agree with a lot with what he said. Right there. I've said that before that I think they really need to improve on that dock that you've got there because it's so flimsy. The little dock we've got, and if they were to maybe, hey, we've got some little chip in here, something. So when you put your dock in here, it for your 4K TVs, 1080, 60 frames per second, all your games. When you put it in dock mode, it does that because when I'm on the go, being crystal clear isn't my priority. It's the games being quality games. So when you have it in your dock, like you're gonna have to play your Xbox or your PlayStation, you can't play them on the go. So to have it on the dock to compete with those, I would think of a more beefier dock to go. Plus, like he said, with these third party developers, some of them might not want to be like, hey, I've already made the game for 2 consoles. Why do I have to make such downgraded version to put on the Switch?
Right.
Even though it looks pretty, when they put out the Witcher 4, that looks like a great game, or the next Skyrim or something, or the next GTA, they're gonna be like, hey, we don't want to have to make it so less, like it's 2 generations less, and put it on that system when because you have to have a beefier system to even run the game maybe on lower specs. So it's going to be harder for third party developers to be like, why is there a purpose for it? I mean, first party IPs, you got Mario, Zelda, games like that, Smash Brothers, they're going to sell. Pokemon, it's going to sell. It's like candy. You're going to sell it because it's Nintendo. You're going to have everybody that wants to jump in. But with these third party developers, you got to think you're going to be like, they're going to push Nintendo, hey, you need to do something better because we want to put more of our games on there and support you more, but in a couple of years, they're not going to be a reason to put our games on there when we're having to drop them so far back to what we maybe did on like a Wii U or a 360 looking just to put it on your console.
There is not going to be a second Skyrim. It's going to be Elder Scrolls.
There's not going to be a second what?
I was just throwing something out there.
Yeah.
Well, you sounded stupid. I was kidding. I'm just joking.
Wow.
I'm joking.
Hey,
I'm joking. Chris, look at me. I'm joking.
But if they really, even on the Switches they have now, if they want to software, it could detect the dock and up the clocks. They could. They just don't. And that's something that they want to market as a new unit. Not to say that the Switch now could handle whatever gen. I think that's a really good argument, honestly, Josh, for that, because we were actually talking about it the other day at work. Well, will it be just they just refreshed the chip? They just refreshed the chip for the new
Yeah.
Switch, and they shrunk
Right.
the battery. And Dom brought up a really good point. It's like, why are they going to refresh the chipset again? And I was like, no. It's going to be a Switch Pro. They're going to refresh the chipset for it. As I started looking at it, some other speculation, it's like, well, they did just do a chip refresh. Does it make monetary sense to refresh again within
Right.
a year, less than a year? But on the flip side of that, if we are looking at ray tracing, if we are looking at XYZ, no, the Switch is probably not going to ray trace. But even if they want to use the lighting models or whatever in these next gen consoles, I mean, they already have to tone it down now, and we're
Right.
starting to get into the mid to late next gen console cycle. Yeah, they absolutely may have to refresh their chips. They may have to do it out of obligation, like you stated. So I think that's a really good point of view on it.
Right, and I think I think a lot of people would point to like The Witcher 3 as being like this technical marvel in terms of they may be able to crunch that experience down to run competently on the Switch, and it's awesome. Like I play it on the Switch and I love it. But also, I think a lot of those developers readily admitted like we just wanted a version to play portably for ourselves, and we figured it was a bonus if people bought it, and that's kind of what they went for. But I mean, and people are talking about like Red Dead 2 getting ported to the Switch, and that's like 100 gig install by itself. I mean, just for those assets. So I mean, for me, it's gonna be really hard for me to entertain the idea that Nintendo's gonna stick with just like slight revisions to the hardware throughout the rest of the Switch's life cycle. I think they want to be in this game for the long haul because that convenience factor isn't going away anytime soon. Like if I had my way, like I would have the Switch just I would have Nintendo just keep making a Switch-like form factor just about forever because I absolutely adore it. But it's not going to be practical at a certain point if they want to get those third-party games on it.
So let me play devil's advocate to you. I think a lot of the conversation that I'm hearing is based off of third parties wanting to get their cyberpunks on the Switch. And I think what we're seeing more and more, like with Capcom probably very soon, I think they're going to have something for the Switch very soon, is games being uniquely made by third parties because they have an appetite to have games on the Switch, but that aren't necessarily the port from the PlayStation and the Xbox. Because like we said at the beginning of the conversation, is Nintendo doesn't compete with Xbox and PlayStation, nor do they really feel that they need to. So, like, we have a new Monster Hunter, for example, coming specifically for the Switch. You're not going to get it on Xbox. You're not going to get it on PC or PlayStation. So, if a Pro comes out and it needs to be competitively viable, then what they're doing is they're saying, okay, well, by that time, the 60 million people that own a Switch, well, sorry, you can't play it. And they've kind of tested that before with the new 3DS. There was Hyrule Warriors, and if you didn't have a new 3DS, you couldn't play the game. Now, that was a very small game, but it was a test of them attempting something of that nature, and it didn't go well for them. It didn't sell well, at least on the 3DS, because you had to have a new 3DS. Xenoblade, when they made Xenoblade Chronicles, you had to have had a new 3DS to play it. You're then cutting off your market, which has been supporting you at that time. I think it came out in 2016, maybe fact check me in chat, but they had been around for 4, maybe 5 years when Xenoblade came out on the 3DS. So if you were to make a more powerful Switch, they'd be saying the 50 million people who have the old Switch, you can't play it. Right? So I think that the conversations we're having is the Switch 2. I think they start having in the cooker the Switch 2. My honest opinion is the Switch Pro, or whatever they call it, will exist. The only thing I see, though, it existing is it now plays your 720p games in 1080. It now plays your games that are inconsistent on docked, consistent. I think they just get the chipset that already exists and they just untap it. Maybe they add a little bit more horsepower, but they really can't. They just have too much of an install base. And third-party people, they know that. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna focus on building games specifically for that platform. And people like Bluepoint and other people who remaster games, they're gonna continue doing that for the games that are realistic to come to the Switch. And again, I don't know. I'm not an expert. This is my personal opinion. If I were a company and I was making decisions and I was on their marketing team, or if I had to go and reach out to third parties, the way I would be pitching it wouldn't be bring Cyberpunk 2077 to the Switch. It'd be, hey, you guys are making this awesome game. You've made this other awesome game. How about you make an awesome game for the Switch? That would be where marketing gravitas, or where my PR-ness would kind of that would be where I skew the conversation with the third-party companies. And the reality is, they want to make money. The install base is there. You're gonna make money. You could fart out a $1.99 eShop game, and it's gonna do fantastic because it's on the Switch.
Yeah, I can see them making unique experiences.
And
These
I
third-party
have.
developers making unique experiences for the Switch.
Yeah.
To capitalize on that, because if they're outselling if it's about to outsell the Xbox and and still keep selling going on, and and the test will be this Christmas if it's how much it sells going throughout this. If it's still selling at a high price, range, high market, for them to sit there and say, hey man, it's still competing, even though there's new consoles there, then hey, we still develop for it.
Yeah.
Speaking of unique experiences, though, Persona 5S
Oof.
on the Switch,
Oof.
and in the trailer they showed a 2 because the story is basically a part 2 of Persona 5. So,
Oh, did you watch my
got me
video,
hyped.
VC? No, that's okay. You guys go shoot. I just launched one on
hey,
the channel
I-
today.
I didn't watch your video because I was afraid of spoilers.
Notifications. You two don't give out notifications. 12% of my subscribers get notifications. 12%. So
It's true.
Probably the same for you, probably too. That's why I haven't seen it.
No, I'm just playing, but you guys should go watch it. Really. Yeah,
No,
I know. I'm so
scared
excited
of
about that.
spoilers.
There's no spoiler. Well,
Yeah. They're all alive. That's spoilers.
finish Persona 5,
Speaking
Josh.
of
God damn it.
spoilers, though.
I see. That's the thing. I'm not playing Scramble until I beat Persona 5 the Royal.
Okay.
And that will, and that sucks because Royal's coming out March 31st, and then
Yep,
Scramble's
another
coming out
March.
February 20th.
Well,
that
February
right?
20th in Japan, so we're not gonna get it probably until it gets localized. So that's we're probably about 4 months out from that. So maybe summer we'll get Scramble in the West Coast.
Oh, okay. So it's only in Japan. Okay, that makes me happy.
Yeah, because like Royal came
That'll
out
give
in
me that
October
chance.
in Japan, and we're getting it now in March. So this one, if we're going by the 5-6 month rule, we'll probably see it in summer sometime.
Okay,
Probably
that's cool.
for
Yeah, if it
E3.
comes out like August or September, I would be way okay with that because I think I could beat Persona 5 before then. Maybe.
Let's go by the Dragon Quest 11 rule.
No.
It it's coming, guys. Trust me, it's coming. Ho ho. And when it gets there,
2022.
guys, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is gonna be on the Switch once Persona 6 comes out, and that's not happening for another 10 years.
It's like, is George R.R. Martin controlling the fucking release of these games? It's like, oh, they're coming. Don't worry. And when they get here, dragons are coming.
I'm always mad at the localization, especially when you have companies, and I got flamed for this on comments before from one of the other videos I did. When it comes to games that are so hugely popular, I think it's such a gross tactic to still go by 1993 rules and release a game in Japan in August and then release it 2 years later in the West when there's such a huge appetite for it worldwide. Localize your goddamn games at the same time. Understand it
And
takes
with the
money,
internet.
but they make so much money. Hey, NX Revolution with the tip. He said Josh needs to beat Golf Story first.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's
Oh,
tip worthy
So
right there.
good.
I don't know about that.
But that always makes me mad. The localization process always
Yeah.
makes me very angry, especially when you have games like Persona that, dude, they probably sell better worldwide than they do even in Japan at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I almost wonder if that's strategic. I wonder if they're like, if we only release it in one region at a time, the people who really want it are going to buy it twice.
But if you're a hardcore fan, you found out, you know the ending right now.
No, I don't.
No, like a hardcore fan. Like
Oh,
somebody who
you're
already
just
played
saying
the
this somebody
game
would
and is very good
hypothetically.
at-
No, like it's taken everything in my body to not have imported and just say, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm just that much of a fan. So people spoil. There's people in Japan right now who they've completely subbed the whole entire game. That has Let's Plays all over the internet. So I hate that. I hate that the fact that a game releases and it's immediately like spoiled. Again, if you can, there's certain things you can do, but the reality is that it sucks that it exists. Like we're on the Super SNES.
It's the internet. Like,
Yeah.
it's too big for companies to release a game like months before other regions. It's not right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand if you're a small family company, but Atlas, you're owned by Sega. You're not a small family
I
company
love
anymore.
that
You're
shit.
huge, so spend the money.
Remember when Pokemon used to do that? Oh,
Ugh.
that was the worst.
Yes. Ugh.
Dom,
Those are the
Dom.
dark days.
Yeah.
if I may take a brief moment to digress. I would like to take this moment as we are on a platform with 18 viewers on YouTube. I want to put Josh, your player 2, on the spot.
Right, bro.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Oof.
This will be fun.
I thought you were
This
gonna
is
put me on the
favorite-
spot for something.
This is his favorite place to be. He loves the attention. If you stream Golf Story, all right, are you listening to me?
Not entirely, but go on.
You watch my mouth. If you
Okay.
stream Golf Story, I will stream Death Stranding.
Ooh, don't tease me.
Mm.
wow.
And for y'all that don't know, I have been a stark contrarian to Death Stranding among the group.
Yeah, you've been pretty
Micromanaging
pretty
packages does suck. So
pretty lackadaisical on Death Stranding. But is it worth it for me to play Golf Story for that? I'm not.
First
sure.
of all, Golf Story is
about it.
actually a good game, so
Golf
you
I know,
Story has
I've
a
got
better
two
win.
copies. I
narrative
have two
than Death
copies of it.
Stranding.
So you win automatically.
I have 2 copies of Golf
I
Story.
have to fumble and bumble.
Dom, I'm
Through the-
serious. Golf
through the
Story has a better
fucking
narrative
marsh.
than Death Stranding.
I never
hands
said Golf
down.
Story was bad.
Oh
You
no,
said
we-
Death
we
Stranding
know.
was bad.
Well, it is.
I didn't say it was bad.
I
You
did.
you never said Death Stranding was bad
Hmm,
ever.
Prove it.
Nick
Do you want
Nintendo.
Go to previous
I can,
You ain't
episodes.
got shit.
I'll put some screenshots in this chat and a link.
Oh, you got it on
Nintendo in the
private
chat right now. I
so-
bet you,
What's good, Nintendo?
Nintendo. I'm
I
talking
would
to you.
never.
If you finish Death Stranding, I bet you it'd be your game of the year.
It's my game of the generation.
Listen, Dom.
Generation.
All right.
Beautiful
Oh,
game.
it's not the game of the decade.
Listen.
Game of the
Uh,
decade.
Crazy.
I think I did say call it my game of the decade. Well, hold on.
There's a lot of games that came out for the decade. So like even like my pick for 2019, I couldn't even put it up for the decade because there's so many games that came out.
There are
So
there
many
are a
good
lot,
games.
but there's a quiet beauty to Death Stranding that is absolutely worth exploring. It's not like a how do I say this? I don't want to say it, but like it's not a fun game. It is fun, but it's a different kind. It's like a satisfactory kind of
It's
fun,
the
not like an instant
micromanaging.
gratification.
That's
fun.
what it is. Like being able to allocate things and like being able to go along on a track. It's like that kind of adventure kind of.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
similar
Sims
to
aren't for
It's
everyone.
games as art, the video
That's-
game.
that's
it's
just how-
similar to people who play Farming Simulator or Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. I mean, it's just the reality.
Well,
Is
Microsoft
people
Flight Simulator. It's like,
Microsoft Flight Sim.
maybe flying from ATL to Houston isn't your thing, but for some people, it's very enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Studio Nintendo says.
I'll stream Golf Story in the spring. Deal?
No,
In the
Okay.
spring,
No deal then.
that's not what I
You-
said. Listen, Ginger. You and your
I-
deal making.
I can't hear what you're saying. It's what?
You're breaking up. I'm sorry.
Right, it's Discord. You know how it works, Jake. And
If you want to hate on Death Stranding, you just go ahead and hate on Death Stranding. I'll live.
I will. In our private chat.
well, you know what? Earlier, guys, we talked about spoilers and how I like to avoid them. But Final Fantasy VII is kind of been a little bit hard to avoid spoilers. People are leaking out the whole entire demo. Chris, what the heck is going on with Final Fantasy?
Well, I specifically for this pulled the portion that wasn't spoiler. So anybody
Beautiful.
in the chat who's got any reservations about it, basically the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo leaked online and hackers, quote unquote, pulled it. Basically, I mean it was released to the PlayStation Network shop, okay, preemptively and accidentally, and people grabbed it and they took it and they released it. So the Final Fantasy VII Remake has been sneakily added to the PlayStation Network, and copies of the demo have been ripped and made playable. This has allowed data miners to seemingly sift through some of the game's files, revealing never-before-seen details. Reports of Final Fantasy VII Remake demo emerged on Christmas Eve, and they since ripped and made playable versions. The demo covers what the first disc does, or at least portions of the first disc. It's got the Avalanche people working against the Shinra Corporation, blowing up Mako reactors. No surprise there. So it's a scene that the fans of the game will know well. But additionally, some images were provided about different characters that haven't been mentioned yet, and some changes to the original story arc. I don't know how many of you guys played through Final Fantasy VII, It's not like classic WoW. I don't know where people are like hashtag no changes, but there will be looks like some artistic direction changes, maybe major, maybe minor. We don't know the full details yet, unless you've gone out of your way to watch it. But it's out there if you are interested, or we can wait for the demo, which is coming soon.
I heard it releases the same day as the game.
Yep.
Does it really?
Can you
Yep,
imagine
they
that
wait for it.
trash? What a trash ass decision, right?
Yep. It's a Square Enix move. You could tell. It's a Square Enix move.
That is not smart.
No, it's not at all. That's like the worst marketing decision ever. That
Speaking of not smart and like Final Fantasy characters, not to cut you off on the topic, but the Remind DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, when is that releasing? I know there's a trailer
think-
for that that recently released as well. I would like to know.
I think in late January, February.
It's
The
late
year the
January,
game-
February, right?
from
So
the
there is
game
something to
release.
play in February. There's nothing to play this month of February.
But that's the same thing with Kingdom Hearts. Like that game came out and so much longer. Oh, here's the trailer for the DLC, and also now you can play the demo. It's like give me the
Yeah.
demo a little bit early.
yo
Exactly.
VC into February. You have Dragon Ball Kakarot. You got Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Then you have
Into
Yakuza.
February.
You have Yakuza
That's
7.
into. I'm saying in February. I said in February.
I'm just trying to cover your February. Yakuza 7's coming. Looks great.
He's trying
When
to
is
make
Yakuza
That does
7?
look good. That's probably the best looking
End-
game.
end of
I've
this
seen.
month?
Turn-based,
I'm looking
right?
forward to.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude, it looks so
RPG style.
dope. It looks so
That's the
dope.
only Yakuza I'll play.
It looks so dope. I'm so excited for it. I don't know why. Like I've only played Kiwami and Judgment, but I'm like this one. Yes, this is me.
Yeah, I'm hype about it too. Can't wait. I just
No,
didn't know it
it's
was coming
been-
out in February. I assumed it was like a summer game or something.
I just looked at that Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC and I just got mad because they're releasing the PS4 version at the end of this month, and they're waiting a month later to release the Xbox version, and that's the version of the game I bought.
Oh, well.
You know why? You know why,
that-
Chris? Because
Why?
no one owns an Xbox.
Yeah.
Mm. They will.
And also,
That
the
stings,
Kingdom
doesn't
Hearts
it?
series always been on the PlayStation. So, well, aside from the
Stings.
Nintendo titles, but
Can I own
that's
an
besides the
Xbox?
point.
Not proud of it though.
What if it going on PlayStation Network was somebody's intentional move to get it out there because they thought that was stupid that it launched on the same day. So like, here you go, guys. We know what you'll do with it. Did anybody watch any of it? Have you guys seen any of this at all? Did you get spoiled at all?
For
No.
what?
I avoided, and
The
even
o-
then, I already played the original game anyway. So, like,
The only thing I've
Oh, yeah.
seen is what they showed us. Actually, let me. I could transition. Oh, whoosh. The only thing I've seen is what you guys are about to see right now on the screen, which is what we got about 3 months ago. They did like a little talk through for about 12, 13 minutes over like a little short portion of the demo, which is it's like a little tidbit of what we saw at E3. So that's really it.
I looked through a bit today. It's nothing crazy. I'm not going to say explicitly. It's like some clothing options and a character that like we just haven't seen, but was in the original game.
The
Like,
demo isn't even that long. It's like a 45-minute hour demo.
yeah, it's very mild stuff even in the demo. So I don't think even still though I don't want to ruin anybody's experiences. But honestly, like I liked seeing it because I was like, wow, it's really cool to see this stuff in this in this generation. So I would say that from my impressions of it, like it looks like it's going to be a game. Like they can't do 7 dirty. If they do, they will literally have people burning down their buildings.
I agree.
That's happened before in Japan, by the way. I'm not trying to make a joke at that, but I'm just saying people go crazy over that stuff.
What the fuck, man?
It was an animation studio. Like
That
some
was.
dude, like
Well, I was like, what the fuck?
yeah, dude.
Chill
like,
out.
people-
Fucking Ricky Gervais.
oh, that was
This is-
the best. I was talking about that last night on the broadcast. That Golden Globe speech by Ricky Gervais.
Dude, that was the
Mwah,
best shit I've ever seen.
It's already one of the best roasts of this decade, like by far. Like it'll be remembered like 10 years from now. Like
It was fantastic.
incredible.
Well,
Mhm. And you're not British, Mono. You can't get away with it.
no, I cannot. Yeah, but it'll be. I think it'll be everything everybody's wanting it to be. From what I'm seeing, I think everybody will be pleased. But they
Oh
are
yeah.
very tight-lipped with this, and I'm kind of glad on some level. Just wonder how the episode thing's going to work out. But
They won't tell us.
I know.
They won't tell us.
It probably end up a trilogy, in my opinion. I feel like that's possible. Like a trilogy, like 3 episodes.
I'm gonna.
When-
$60 for each. Deluxe editions for each, $90. Collector's editions for each, $300 each. So you spend $900 on 3 collector's editions.
You're hired, Square Enix. They just picked you up. They're watching this video. They're scouting right now. Marketing department's like, yes, give me that man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Josh is already like,
used to do
Josh-
marketing.
Josh is like, I'm about to spend $900.
Don't worry.
It's not going to be
Wallet
great.
cries.
It's likely though. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
He's already thinking about it.
With a game like Final Fantasy,
If I could
though,
find
I
the Final
hate having
Fantasy,
it.
I'd be tempted to go for it,
I-
but I think it's sold out.
I really hate that this isn't, and because like the whole thing was like getting to a certain place and then like any other JRPG, like I want the whole freaking game. I don't want a piece of the game.
Right.
Personally, but I mean I'm gonna buy it. But personally, I
It
don't like that
it's hard
choice.
to absorb when you know it. You know the story and it already exists. If this was like a new game, we would all be a bunch of idiots. We have no idea that they're cutting out a third of the game. You know what I mean, or 2/3 of the game. But it already
Right.
exists. People know the story back and forth. It's one of the most coveted, most like hype games of ever. Period.
Yeah.
And that's where the decision kind of is a little odd because you're gonna get to the end of, I mean, the first quarter-ish, not even quarter-ish of the game, and then it's gonna cut off. So I don't know.
I'm just looking forward to the end game of hopefully they don't cut out doing the weapons because like that was a whole thing in of itself. Anybody who's played 7, Emerald weapon, Ruby weapon, like they're okay. They're just in-game bosses that you have to have certain builds to actually beat. Like it, I don't know.
I'm not a
It's-
Final Fantasy 7 guy.
Oh,
I
that's
played it. I played it once, and I was like,
It's good.
I'm
But you're
a,
getting this one for sure.
I'm that random person that
Yeah.
prefers 10 over 7, but that's just
10's good.
I like
10's
10.
seven's
I like
not
10
my-
over
no,
7 too.
My favorite is Final Fantasy Tactics, so it's not even close to
Tactics
being
is
my
good.
favorite.
Is
So
10 really that good? I
Dude,
haven't played
10
10's
10
good.
is so good. 10
I
2,
like the
do not play
characters.
it.
The characters, story, and the way you can build your characters, I preferred in 10 over prior Final Fantasies.
Sphere Grid's
I've-
cool.
I've only played 9 and 15, and I really like 9. And I'm worried to play a different one because I don't think I'm going to like it as much as I like
8?
9.
8's on the Switch. Play 8. 8's good.
Yeah, I
9
recommend
is
8 or 10. 8 or 10 then if you like
I like
9.
8. 8's really good. I like 8 a lot.
If you like 9,
liked
go
8.
back and play the SNES versions because 9 was a 3D throwback to those. Really though, truthfully, like it's kind of playful, kind of like high fantasy kind of stuff. It's not.
Mhm.
None of the other PlayStation ones are like 9 in that respect, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I have a tail in
But-
9.
Play
Exactly.
I like that.
In 8, you're some emo dude. Like in 7, you're some emo.
Squall?
In
Whatever
10,
the fuck
you're
is
some emo dude.
Squall?
Oh.
Yeah, Squall.
8. Also, in 10, I feel like it gets going a little faster than a lot of the other games too.
I'm waiting for so I was gonna pick up something about 12 I really want to play. I don't know why.
recommend it.
It's great.
Really.
It's so good, but you have to waste like 6 hours. The first 6 hours are
not
fucking
wrong.
terrible. God, it's
3
so
to
hard to
4 is the
recommend.
bare
The
minimal.
game is very much of a
It's
drag.
so hard to recommend. It's dude after
Oh my god, I got 100 hours out of this.
after
Oh,
about
it's hard to recommend.
after about
Doesn't make
6
any sense.
hours, the game's a 10. But the first 6 hours is just a pile of doo doo, and oh, I hate that
Really?
game.
Hard to like yes, the first part is boring, but it's a great Final Fantasy.
I feel like if I suffer through like 20 hours of Death Stranding, I can't make that argument anymore. I don't think I can be like, well, the first 6 hours is kind of slow.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
you're
you
I
got
know,
10
I
of
know.
Death Stranding,
But you guys know how you have like those games you go back to when you try to go back to 12 because the beginning is just so. I just hate it. It's one of them. I hate it so much. Like you guys, I can't even explain to you how much I hate it. It's made me not play the game 12 times, 10 times. It's just so
It's
rough.
bad. Look, he's not selling it short. The
I'm
beginning's-
not trying to say it's not a great game. The job system is bar none the best fucking job system in all of Final Fantasy.
I'll
but-
give- but like once you get through that curve, it is a very good game.
Yes. Yes.
It just sucks that you have to sit with that character. for
Yeah,
so
the beginning is just a little dark because of it just brings you down. But you know what other things are dark? The Dark Knight. Gosh darn it. Batman swinging into action, guys. Chris, what's going on with the old Batsy? What's going on with Batsy over there?
Batman, Batsy. Well, we got some speculation that a new Batman game has been teased again from WB, that's Warner Brothers, those bros out there, Warner Brothers Games Montreal. So WB Games Montreal has been hinting at what appears to be a new Batman game, and the studio has now dropped another new teaser. The latest comes in the form of multiple images that fit together to form a crest. The teasers dropped across several social media websites like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and can be put together into one image. Kind of a neat marketing thing. The images can be composited to show a crest similar to the American government iconography with an eagle on top. The teasers were accompanied by the slogan "Capture the Night." This is the same slogan as the last teaser, which also shows the crest of morphing into in rapid succession. This one is new, but no more clear as to meaning of it. Fans have long speculated the next game will center on the Court of Owls, a shadowy Illuminati-like organization that brokers power in Gotham. The Eagle Crest would throw a wrench in that theory, but it's too early to tell without an official reveal.
I'm hyped.
Team, you got to take it away. I have not played any of the Arkhams or anything. I'm not the biggest Batman guy, so take it away.
Okay. Let me just. I'm only gonna say one thing, and then I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I love Batman. I love everything about Batman. I love the villains. I love the character. I love Bruce Wayne. I don't play the games.
The Arkham games are not like any other.
Ooh,
They're
that's a
different.
mistake.
They're different. The Arkham games are their own breed. You just gotta give them a try.
Except for you can skip Origins.
Yeah,
I
that
have
one you can skip.
I have Arkham City
That's the best one.
on my PS.
Yeah.
Asylum is the best.
I hate
think
Asylum.
You like
I think I
Asylum
played
more than
I
City?
think I played
I hate
Asylum.
Asylum.
I know I'm in a weird small little niche, but I personally prefer Asylum.
No, the
Asylum
niche
is
is
really
the niche
good.
is the people
Not
who really
bad.
like Origins. That's the niche.
Well, the niche, like
Okay.
That's a
we don't
niche.
talk about those people.
Yeah. I'll say this about the possibility of Court of Owls. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
step back a little bit for you. So like I have enjoyed comic books periodically. Like I tend to get super into them for like a period of about like a year to 18 months, and then I just totally abandon them for years on end.
Fair.
When I was growing up, I used to I used to go to a comic shop with my dad every Saturday, and we collect like Web of Spider-Man and Iron Man. Fast forwarding, to when I kind of got out of my own around 2006, I was really into Marvel Comics, specifically the Civil War arc, and this was around 2006, a couple years before we got Iron Man. And then right around 2011, I got real into DC of all things. Now I've never been a DC fanboy by any stretch of the imagination, like make mine Marvel, Excelsior, all that stuff. But 2011 was a big year for Batman. First off, we got Arkham City, which was a tremendous follow-up to Arkham Asylum. It took everything that was great about the game and then expanded it to a larger Gotham City type environment to kind of run around in as Batman. It was a wonderful game. And then on top of that, though, DC Comics was going through the New 52, wherein they basically relaunched all of their titles, and Batman got 4 different titles released. He had, I believe, what was it? It was like, I think it was Batman, and then he had Dark Knight, and then there were like 2 other Batman titles. And I wasn't sure which one was going to be the definitive, like, best one, because, there was kind of a crapshoot with 4 different ones. But ultimately, strung out of the gate was Batman, basically the run from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and I got real into it. Now those are kind of expensive. Now if you want to get the individual comics, they do make them in a trade paperback, which I've got it right here. But I'll tell you this: back then, I was playing Arkham City around the same time I was reading these New 52 comics, and as it started building towards the Court of Owls arc. And the whole time I was reading it, I was like, my God, I was like, they are crazy if they don't turn this into an Arkham game. And it's just such a tremendous setup. Because if you take everything you know about Gotham City that you've seen in the movies, if you read about the comics, and you thought like this is kind of a dark and unfriendly place, that arc, the whole Court of Owls thing, just takes it to an entirely new level. Like everything you thought you knew about about Gotham being sort of this dark, uninviting place gets taken to a whole nother level when you start to see. It's almost like Gotham itself becomes a character whenever you start reading through that. I'm not going to spoil anything here. If you have the opportunity to read it, I think you should. Unless at this point you're like, I want to go in as blind as I can in case they do this arc for the. But it just. Rather than fall back on like kind of old cliches, which to a degree I would even say Arkham Asylum and Arkham City did, right? They kind of pitted Batman against a lot of traditional enemies, but the story was told in a really, really good way. It was just done, in a very, very solid layout, I guess, for pitting him against people like Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc and all these other iconic villains from the Batman Rogues Gallery. But Court of Owls just brought something completely new and bonkers, and it worked extremely well. It's completely worth reading. If that's the direction they are going with this new game, I'm super excited because I thought that might be the thing we got after Arkham City, and then we got Arkham Origins, so I was a little peeved by that. But if that's where they go with this, it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be really good.
I can't wait. It's gonna be a great game, especially with this long hiatus practically since the last Batman game.
Right. Well, last time we had a Batman was what, 2015?
2015.
5
Around
years.
Same year as
When we
Witcher.
got Arkham Knight. Yeah.
What excites me is just I want to know how they're gonna tell this story because they can take so many liberties with it. Because essentially, Court of Owls is kind of like they're the reason for everything kind of thing, and I want to know on how that story is gonna be told. And I'm very interested in the narrative that it's gonna have, and I think that they could do something really special with this. And they already have this platform to just kind of build off of, but I want to know how
Right.
that story is gonna be delivered. I'm very, very
Not
intrigued.
to
by
mention
that.
with the implications of the Court of Owls on Gotham as a whole, like they have a lot of flexibility, not just in terms of like how they tell a unique story specific to Batman, but if they want to explore or do a real deep dive into some of the history and lore of Gotham, they could absolutely do that.
Well,
and do some tricky stuff.
And the sign, the thing that was on Twitter today too, is like the GCPD badge kind of like broken, which means that there's gonna be like some divide, which means that they're gonna have some kind of stake in the GCPD, which is their whole, governmenting system, which is gonna be pretty interesting. Again, and just very, I think
Right.
that if you're a fan, the story is definitely 100% gonna be there. It's just they need to make sure everything else is. Too.
Right.
And for the love of God, they're gonna do the Batmobile. Please do it a lot less than Arkham Knight. For the love of God.
I liked the Batmobile in Arkham Knight, but man, I felt like they did a whole they Batmobiled really hard in that game.
It's so
That
hard.
was a whole lot
If
of
I had
cruising
this,
around. in
I
a
still have
tank.
nightmares about the Riddler freaking puzzles. I hate those damn things.
But you can't tell me it didn't feel amazing, like popping out of that thing and engaging in
The
street
first-
fights like instantly.
The first few times, absolutely. Like the 100th time, I was like, "Yeah, no, thank you." And you're
the 100th
forced to
time,
do
about
it.
20 minutes in, I was a little tired.
Yeah.
You know what's a really underrated role? Jim Carrey as the it's good shit.
Batman
That
Forever.
is- that-
Love that
Could have
movie.
been worse.
Not
I've
a
got a
great
buddy who that's
movie.
his favorite Batman movie. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Not a great movie. A tier actors though. You got Tommy. You got Jim.
A tier actors with a D tier script.
It was bad,
man.
but Jim Carrey is the Riddler. It goes like for me it goes like I think Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and then like Jim Carrey. Those are like the
Yeah, I can agree with
portrayals
that.
of villains.
I love Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson though. I think that one still takes the top for me. Heath is right after. Jack Nicholson is just so classic. It reminds me of being a kid. Like it just like that's what I
Right.
remember. Like I just can't
People were shaving the bat symbol into their heads back then, man.
Yeah, I just
People were
can't
nuts about
take that
Like,
away.
It just depends on what like what you want your Joker in your head to be
Well,
like. I guess.
The reason I'm so nostalgic for those is just because it skewed way more towards the comic books and kind of like how they depicted the world kind of being as opposed to the newer movies are more set in like today's world. You know what I don't know if that makes sense, but
I can see what you're
the
saying.
world that they built, and I prefer that because that's my Batman. I'm a Batman animated series kid. I still watch that till
I love
today.
I'm
Batman
glad to hear
animated
that.
Oh, I forgot about Mark Hamill.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Mark
Yeah.
That
Hamill.
doesn't count.
Batman
He's in a
Beyond,
league of his
that's
own. That
fine.
doesn't count.
Love
I'm not
Batman
even going to
Beyond.
list him.
Who also did a voice in Darksiders, by the way, and I never knew that. I started playing that on the Switch last year, and it blew my mind.
He does a cameo in Flash on
I saw that episode. I
And he's-
don't even watch it in its entirety, and that was fun.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird that you bring up Batman Forever because I had the most random yesterday about the commemorative cups they did for that movie at McDonald's.
Oh yeah, I still
You
have them.
remember
They're in a
that?
box.
The
Yeah,
I
glass
do remember
ones?
those.
yeah, I have it.
Remember
It's in,
whenever fast food gave you glassware?
I
Mhm.
did.
It-
That's the first thing that popped in there.
it had a handle too.
Yeah,
It did.
I remember.
I
that.
have it. I
I-
still have it to this day. I love that thing.
I'm about to look this up on eBay real quick.
I think I got like Mickey Mouse one or like Disney ones one time.
The 90s were so plentiful that they literally gave you glassware with meals
my
if you bought
God.
them. And now it's
That's
like
awesome.
you can get a cheeseburger for like less than $3.
Yo, McDonald's used to give out the VHSs of like the little cartoon series they even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut did that too with the X-Men. I love that.
Times were different.
Memories, those 90s memories.
Dude,
That's a little
I have
tighter now.
legit Pokemon plushies from McDonald's at Burger King when I was a kid. And they're like, they're not large, but they're
A decent
four
size, I
four
guess.
and a half inches of plush, and they're like really well made. Like they've survived longer than people have been alive. So I mean, and they're still in great condition.
Some people
That's
don't
very
survive as
true.
long as.
What?
Yeah, so I mean, they're in
Talking about the
fantastic
Beaver.
condition.
Talking about
So-
the Beanie Babies.
You could
No,
not
no,
live
no,
a
like, I
McDonald's
have-
plushie.
Dude, I have like a Vulpix. I literally have like, I have a freaking Polyworld right here that I got from Burger King. Like I have all of these
about that.
plushies and everything, and they're in fantastic condition. So I mean, and nowadays they give you some, I don't know, garbage.
It's like a circle of plastic with a sticker on
They
it.
give you a Pokemon card that's already been folded because the girl was shitty and she didn't care about your kid. So it's like, ugh, I hate you guys. You know what I mean? So, gosh, 90s was such a better time. Anyways, you looked that up on eBay, Josh? What we got there?
What are they going for?
40
if you
40
wanted to buy them,
$40? Maybe
hold on.
$20?
How much do you think? You guys want to take a guess real quick?
Well, they were mass produced and given out at like the biggest fast food retailer of the 90s.
I say
$30.
about, yeah, 45 at the most. At like the most, like top
I
end
will
dollar.
say.
I'll
Hold
say-
on.
I'm doing
I
buy
will
it
say-
now.
I will say. I will say 89.99.
Mm.
This is the Price is Right rules. Can't go over.
$60.
You guys are super off. Like, if you want to buy the individual glasses, they're going for as low as $2.
Oh,
So-
motherfucker!
There
So
we go.
you-
Yeah.
You could pretty much get
Know what
yourself
it
a
is.
whole set. I mean,
Hell yeah.
I
get
thought they
the-
were gonna be.
the Riddler, $1.85.
A
thought they were
part
gonna
of
be in demand.
You can
People
have.
don't treat you with respect.
a part of me kind of wants to buy them for
I kind of
$1.85.
want to as
Like
well.
those are
This is,
they're so cool, and I'm so nostalgic for it. Oh, they're so good.
The Tommy Lee.
Oh,
with the
chips,
coin flip.
chips. We're
That's the,
guessing at how much the cups that they gave you at McDonald's from Batman and Batman Forever
Batman Forever.
cost now to buy.
The Riddler one had like a little question mark as the.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good, and it came in.
I'm
Remember,
gonna-
remember the box it came into? It had the like. Oh, it's so good,
Yeah.
so good.
I don't know if they were free. I think maybe you had to actually buy them for like $1 or $2 or something. Like I don't know if they came with a meal, but you could.
Didn't
get
they do
them.
that like for the Flintstones movie too? I seem to remember like Flintstones
Yes. I
glassware.
think you're correct on that. Yeah.
I never saw the movie, but I just remember seeing the glassware and being like,
Yeah.
I don't want this.
They also
Yeah.
did plates for Hercules. My kids eat on those plates till
Yes,
today.
dude.
They
I used to have.
I
the
have them.
Hercules plate.
Yeah, I
I
have
love
them
Hercules.
today, and I have like a Power Rangers one, a Hercules one. There's some other one. My kids literally eat their breakfast on it every morning.
Actually, off topic real quick, but on topic. Did you guys ever have McDonald's pizzas growing up?
I know it
Pizza?
existed, but I never had it.
Man, they had it in my town, and I actually did a little bit of research, and apparently there's a McDonald's about 2 hours from me right now that still does the McDonald's pizzas.
That's a White Castle drive. That's worth it.
I know. I called them, and I was like, "Is it true you guys have the pizzas?" They're like, "Yes." We get so
Yeah.
many calls every week. We have the pizzas. I was like, "All right." They're like, "Are you gonna come in?" I was like, "No." I was like, "This is really far, but someday I'll be there."
Someday I'll be there.
You know, bucket list
And the
item.
day you'll go, you'll walk in and you'll be like, "Hey, you have the pizza, right? We did have
Yeah.
the pizza. You just stopped." selling
That
them."
lady right there just took the last slice, and you're just like, ah. That's funny crap.
Gotta get
According to an
sliced
article
out
from
later.
2017, it's only available in 3 locations right now.
It's crazy that they.
That's crazy.
that
And
they
Ohio still
produce-
listed. Yes.
Yeah, but they still produce like somewhere, some factory somewhere still produces the materials for that for these 3 locations.
The
And
Mc
only
the
those 3
McPizza,
locations.
yeah.
Yeah, like that's not cost effective at all. Like who's doing that and why? Are they franchises? They must not be corporate chains.
No, they
If
must
don't
not
know.
be.
franchises can only make that.
But
Cool.
it makes me happy.
Yeah, no, that's actually
Their
it's
pizzas
like
were
time
good
passed
when I was growing up. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, some kids like Lunchables pizza too. And,
Yeah.
Yes.
From
Jake.
living in New York, I know that that's garbage.
I could literally go
Dude.
grab that right now. I literally have it like downstairs.
Dude, I love that. Like that fucking is a blast from the past, dude. That
Yeah.
feels so weird.
That's the
literally
reason I
used
have
to-
my kids eat on it, so I can see it all the time. It makes me nostalgic.
That's my
Yeah,
favorite
my
play. That's
favorite
my favorite
movie is
Disney
that.
movie.
Me
I'm gonna
too.
buy that shit. It's 50.
Jake, sometimes I
It's
think we are real friends. It's so crazy. I like you. You're a good guy.
We're cut from the same cloth, homie.
Well, on
I'm
that
gonna
note,
buy that
guys, anything else about the old Batsy? You guys gonna go watch that Harley Quinn movie? Might be trash, might be good. Anybody?
Maybe.
I mean, I'll wait.
I'll wait for the reviews.
Yeah.
Ain't
I'll
she
wait
like
for
the
the
only
parody.
one that's still like doing like the movie they did?
I'd rather watch the TV show, like the cartoon that's out.
Yeah.
Brand new one for Harley Quinn. That seems a little
Those
more
ones are
entertaining.
usually, I mean, the animation of the DC movies are typically top notch. The last Superman one they did, fantastic. All of the Batman ones are fantastic. Oh, also, I was gonna say earlier, we talked about voice actors. Kevin Conroy is Batman.
Yeah,
Hands down. Hands down.
Mhm.
All right, let's go ahead and do our outros. I'll start where I finished last time. Mr. Chris Levi, thanks for coming on tonight. You want to tell people what you're up to, where they can find you?
It's always a pleasure to be on the Lootcast anytime I get a chance to be on there. It's always great people, great conversations, and always a great chat right there, no matter the platform that you're watching it on. As far as me, you can find me at Chris Levi 13 on any of your platforms. You can just search me on Twitter, on Google, or on YouTube. You'll be bound to find this face right here. And coming up for me, it's still a lot of different streams of games that I'm going through, like Borderlands 3, Pokemon, and other games and new games as I get them. If I get Kakarot or I get like Final Fantasy 7, I definitely will stream those games, share the experience as I go through it with you. I love doing that. I love doing that because it gets my reaction there live, and I can always go back and say, "Hey, look, I did it on stream, and there's my reaction." But yeah, I got a lot of streams in ours, and next week I'm gonna start diving back into not just doing streams, but also getting back in after the holiday rush and everything, getting back into diving and making videos for the channel and to get some of that content up there around music, gaming, stuff like that. That's pretty much what I'm up to.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to go ahead and find Mr. Chris Levi, his channel is in the chat. Moving on, Mr. VCIPZ. What you got in the cooker, man?
Well, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern
Oof.
Standard Time.
Oof.
Early release for me, but there's 2 collab videos releasing. One on my channel and one on Turbo Jesse's channel. If you want to check that out, make sure you guys check out my channel and subscribe if you're interested in game content, streams, music, videos, reviews, tons of different stuff I got planned in the pipeline. I do a lot of streams now. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Those are my main 5 days I do streams. And then Thursday nights, I'm usually off or I'm here on the Lootcast or somewhere else or whatever. But yeah, aside from that, things have been pretty good. And thanks again, Dom, for inviting me to the Lootcast once again. It's always a great time and always lots of great stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
so
Thanks for coming on today. I love how we are able to have completely different opinions, especially when it comes to like Pokemon. That's always great conversation. Thanks for allowing us to have it with you. It's a fun time, man. Moving on to Mr. Your Player 2 to Your Player 1. Anything in the cooker and what's going on over there on your side of the fence?
Yes, absolutely. So, most recent release, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to it in the chat if you want to go check it out. But those are my most anticipated games for 2020. As far as what's coming up, every Sunday I do Sunday Story Time, Story Time Sunday, where right now we're trying to play through the entirety of The Witcher 3, which is probably going to take me through summer. But that sounds like something you'd like to check out, especially if you've been checking out, The Witcher on Netflix. Make sure you swing by the channel on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern for that. And then next week, videos that are coming out are 3 ways that I try to stay productive on my YouTube channel. So if you're somebody who's also a content creator and you struggle with motivation or just staying productive, that video is for you. And then next Thursday I will be doing my December pickups, which I thought I was going to get done earlier in the month, did not get them done, but picked up a lot of games from GameStop abusing my discount in December. So there was a lot of fun putting that video together too. So if that sounds interesting, check it out, maybe subscribe. And best place you can find me is on Twitter.
Absolutely, and thanks for coming on another week. We always appreciate you having you on here, seeing your perspectives, and definitely tonight dropping that Batman knowledge. Speaking about bats, Jagan, what you got going on, brother?
What the fuck? What do I have to do with the bat? Huh?
Caves? You like to explore caves. You're a cave enthusiast. You are
Called
a
spelunking.
sure. Yeah, you spelunk on the weekends. It's great. I heard great
Hmm.
things. I've seen video.
I also go in caves.
Yeah, huh?
All right. All right, guys. You'll find me here every Thursday, having a great time with my friends. You can also follow me here on YouTube. I streamed on Monday. Guess what? Papa Jenkins still got it. So why don't you go ahead and hit that little linky link? Come on down to my side of town. We're gonna play some Pokemon tomorrow night. And guess what? It's not gonna be very productive at all. But next week. Oh,
Sounds
Hey,
like when I
listen.
play.
next week we're going to play Kakarot. And guess what?
Ooh.
I'm going to scream the entire time. Not really. I'm gonna go Super Saiyan. And I'm gonna throw my sofa. Yes, I have a sofa. I don't know what the fuck a couch is.
Has my mic been off for the last like 5 minutes or something?
Since you did your outro, yes.
So like even during my outro or after?
No, after your outro.
Okay, I was about to say.
Your
Alright.
outro, you got that. That one was good.
Okay.
I
Just 'cause,
think.
Deacon, what I
Unless,
was
like-
mentioning just now when my mic is muted, you gotta spike your hair up with gel or something during the stream. Like you gotta get the flow going up, Super Saiyan style. You gotta go with it.
Don't
Go
ever
with the
interrupt
flow.
me. Anyway,
Too late. I already did.
I know. I'm gonna kill you. All right, guys. Have a good night. Chris is a person. Just kidding. Chris Levi. What's going on with you, buddy? You look handsome tonight. I like your hat. What you got going on?
I'm just chilling. I'm good.
All right. Good talk. All right. Just kidding.
Ridiculous. Mr. Monopauls. Another week. Episode 31. Some say we made it.
We did. So
We
glad
did.
made it.
We
Made
did.
it to the end.
Yes, we
And
did.
more to come, of course, as you mentioned earlier at the beginning of the episode as well.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will mark our next episode of the Soul Link as we move on to the
Fifth.
fifth gym.
Fifth.
Fifth gym? Fifth gym? We're already there? Fourth gym?
Fourth gym,
Fourth gym.
fifth
Fifth
episode.
episode. We didn't get to the first episode. We tried, though. But yeah, look at that. That'll be tomorrow and die or win. And it's going to be win. Of course, another thing mentioned too, I don't know if it was mentioned or not, there is an ongoing giveaway. Anybody who is still here or maybe didn't see it at the beginning of the episode, please go subscribe. Tell your friends to also throw their entry in the hat and subscribe as well. More people in the pod. Of course, it's more competition, but we want to give away, and there'll be more giveaways in the future as well as we move forward towards the road to 1,000 subs, which we moved that notch again tonight. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And then coming on Monday, gonna be more Pokemon. We had a really, really, really fun. I thought it was a blast. Had some raids, had some people pop in with some shiny raids. Jake came by, he nabbed himself some shinies. So we'll probably do some community raids again.
I always do.
Coming this Monday as well. So that's it for me. Other than adding some more backlog of our wonderful podcast to Spotify and iTunes. If you haven't checked that out, there'll probably be about, I'd say 6 to 10 more episodes added this weekend. So be on the lookout for that if you want to go and catch some backlog on your cellular device or wherever you listen.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for joining episode 31 of the Lootcast. We appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're listening to podcast services around the world, whether you're listening to YouTube, Mixer, or Twitch. We love you wherever you're at, because where you're at is where we want to be, and we hope that we pleasured your ear holes today, or your eyes, because we look pretty damn dapper today. Again, go watch the video content on youtube.com/Schemers if you guys want to see what we mean. I don't know. I did some kind of like if you guys see Mr. Mime, I did some mimeage on the video. Jakin colored his hair, and Josh did magic